Okay. Just hand over the-
All right. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. This meeting is an in-person meeting held here at Benton Harbor High School. Questions may be submitted beforehand to liz.goodwin@bhas.org or presented in person during the public comment sections as indicated in the agenda. Board members may be contacted through the emails listed below. Requests for special assistance, including persons with disabilities, may be sent to liz.goodwin@bhas.org. I call this meeting to order officially at 5:35 p.m. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first order of business on the agenda is roll call. Secretary Triplett,
President Robinson,
present.
Vice President Bradley,
Present.
Secretary Triplett, present. Treasurer Creighton,
Present.
Trustee Bowen,
Present.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Present.
Trustee Buchanan.
Present.
A quorum is established.
Awesome, a quorum has been established. Next on the agenda, we have approval of the agenda. I do want to notate that our student representatives are not present today, so there will be no student representative update. So your approval of the agenda would be as it is, minus the student representative update. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam President,
Treasurer Creighton, you have the floor.
should I make the motion or ask for the approval?
So if you'd like to suggest an amendment,
Yes, I'm sorry, an
ahead.
amendment to the agenda.
okay.
I would like to make an amendment to the agenda under section 3, contract renewal. Being that we don't have a clear job description for staff report number 3, I know that a lot of titles have changed. I'm not sure of the evaluation, job description, and so I would ask that this be removed from the agenda until next month or when we have this information available.
Okay, so what Treasurer Creighton is suggesting is that the agenda be removed. I mean, that the agenda be approved minus the student representative update noted and the staff report S3.
Mhm.
Okay. Treasurer, Trustee Bowens, did you have an insight?
No, Madam President, after that motion, I want to do a motion too.
Okay,
do
go
I need to
ahead
wait?
with your suggested amendment.
Can we push policy 202 all the way to policy 8510? All of those policies, can we push back to next week? I mean,
Next month?
yes, please.
So are you meaning all policy readings, second of 2 and 1 of 2?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes. It's kind of backwards, I was with.
Okay, so as it stands currently, Treasurer Creighton has requested that the agenda as it stands be modified to remove staff report S3. Trustee Bowens is requesting that the agenda be modified to remove policy reading second of 2 and policy reading first of 2. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as suggested with the subtraction? So, and I'm sorry, I want to make sure I mention again, the student representative update would be removed, staff report S3 contract renewal, and both of the policy readings. Is there a motion to approve the
So
agenda?
moved.
Support.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Bowens. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
No.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
No.
motion carried.
Okay, so the noted updates, the contract renewal, policy reading second of 2, and policy reading first of 2 would be moved to the April agenda. And then the student representative update, Dr. Townsend, if there are relevant updates that we should have received this month that are still relevant in April, just have them included in that update.
Copy.
All right. Next, we have the review of our board norms. And Liz, are they actually in these binders? I don't see the.
Didn't you request?
No, that's the. Okay, 1 second.
Collaboration.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go to my electronic copy of the agenda.
This would be a good time to sing the fight song.
Our Board of Education norms for Benton Harbor area schools. These are what guide how we interact with each other in our meetings. We also request that the public utilize these norms when interacting with us as well. We will treat each other with respect. We will listen to learn. We will refrain from side conversations. We will use our time wisely, starting and ending our meetings on time. We will challenge ideas and not people. We will ask questions when in doubt. There will be no surprises at the board table. We will practice the 7 norms of collaboration. The norms of collaboration to be practiced are pausing, paraphrasing, posing questions, putting ideas on the table, providing data, paying attention to self and others, and presuming positive intention. So those are our board norms. Next up, we have public comment on agenda items. The Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters. Today, there are 2 areas for comment on the agenda of which you may decide when to speak: public comment on agenda items and open public comment. We request that each interested participant complete a public participation form using legible writing to ensure that responses are appropriate and properly focused. Per Benton Harbor Area Schools Bylaw 0167.3, which governs board participation at board meetings, we request that you preface your comments with your name, address, and group affiliation when appropriate. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to a 3-minute duration, and per our bylaws, no participant may speak more than once during this meeting. Participants may remove their mask when addressing the board. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. The board will listen, take comments and questions under advisement, and not respond at this time. I, as president, will refer questions to the superintendent for research and response. Please ensure that your public participation form includes your contact information as requested. If you have specific questions for the board or executive team that require follow-up, please email those directly to liz.goodwin@bhas.org. Is there anyone present for public comment on agenda items? Commissioner Adams.
Circumstances, but I want to thank you for this opportunity. And hopefully, I guess it is in the agenda. Thank you, not that I needed it, now I gotta step back some. But thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you for stepping up in the leadership roles that you have. And I just want to put forth a reminder that in order for us to continue to move forward, we have to sometimes glance backwards to remember where we've come from and what we've come through and where we are today. I just want to basically say that the young man that happens to be our superintendent that found it in his heart to come and serve our community. When I first met him, when he came to an interview, I met him in the hallway and I was just drawn to him, and I'll say it because I acknowledge my God and put it on my heart that he needed this young man to know that he sent him here. And there's a lot of talk throughout the community. We already know the shape that we are in. I'd like to see us work more with the city government, but he has a choice to make and it's his to make, but I'm trusting that he's going to trust in the God that I know to be God and stay the course and on his high horse. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Is there anyone else that would like to make public comment on agenda items? And just to clarify, if there's something that we're planning to take a vote on that you would like us to hear you prior to vote, this would be your opportunity to speak. If you prefer to respond to something that we do in the meeting or just give us a general comment, then later would be when you would speak. All right, hearing none, we'll proceed with the agenda. Oh, I thought you was going. Okay. Next, we have approval of meeting minutes. We are approving the regular session minutes from 2/8/2022, as well as the closed session meeting minutes from 2/8/2022. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Support.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Trustee Bowens. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the minutes? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Renee Harris connecting the Benton the Marion County Health Department and parents. I'd like to have you all come forward. And it says, Renee, are you doing the presentation? Both of you, a team. Okay, so we're gonna invite the Marion County Health Department to come forward. And just so the board is aware, this came from a conversation that Ms. King and I had about ways she wants the county to collaborate with the school district. And so she was invited to give us a presentation. So we're excited that you all are here.
So hello, everyone. So my name is Keena King and I'm the Family Health Programs Manager at the Marion County Health Department. And I work across our positive parenting programs, and I also work with the teen population within Marion County. And I've been in my role for over, sorry.
You can take it up while you're talking. It's fine.
Okay. A trend was.
We don't want to put the health department out.
So, and I've been in my role for almost 7 years, working at the Marion County Health Department, but with a specific focus with working with our Benton Harbor residents. And so I have worked across we have a P positive parenting program, also a program that serves pregnant and parenting teens, and then also our Taking Pride in Prevention program that works with teens addressing sexual health. And so I have some information that we want to share with the school board, some concerning data that we have, and we want to not only provide that data to the school board, but also provide a support and solution with working with the school board and also working with our students. We have some numbers that are very concerning for us from a public health standpoint, and also for me personally and my colleagues as well, and want to, again, not only just share this information, but also provide some support, some resources, and some solutions to some of this information that we have to share with the school board tonight. And so without further ado, we'll have Tara, and each person can introduce themselves and their role and responsibility as to this PowerPoint that we want to present to the students.
My name is Tara Phillips. I am actually new to the Marion County Health Department. I've been in my position as a community health worker for 8 months now. My job is to go into the community with all of our HIV, AIDS positive residents and link them to care and link them to ART medications. But I do have some data as far as our sexual health program that I also participate in as well. And the next slide, please. Okay, so we will begin with the County of Marion in comparison to Region 5, State of Michigan, and nationwide STI rates for the years 2010 through 2018. Region 5 includes Marion, Cass, Van Buren, Allegan, Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, and Branch counties. The data in this graph does not show significant change in rates, although they are fairly high rates. These are the rates for chlamydia per 100,000 of our Marion County residents, and also in comparison to the Region 5, Michigan, and national rates. So as you can see in 2018, we are leading in the rates for chlamydia for our county. Next slide, please. So this is the chart for gonorrhea rates per 100,000 residents. We do see a dip in 2014. However, the climb in cases are consistent in the years to follow. So in 2018, we can see again that Marion County does lead in gonorrhea rates for not only Region 5, Michigan, the state of Michigan, but our national rates. So on this slide, the Marion County STI STD rates for 2020. For 2020, we have 784 cases for chlamydia, and that is an increase of 156 cases from 2018. For gonorrhea, we have 407 cases, which is an increase of 160 cases. And I must add, for gonorrhea, we are seeing that medication used to treat gonorrhea are beginning to have diminished efficacy, and antimicrobial resistance is beginning to occur, meaning that eventually there's a possibility that the medicine that we're using for gonorrhea will not work. Next slide, please. So this is the Marion County residents with chlamydia and gonorrhea from 2017 to 2019. The data shows that rates are highest among Marion County residents between the ages of 15 and 19 and 20 and 24, which are consistent with our national rates. For Marion County, we are actually leading in ages 15 to 19 for chlamydia. We actually see residents as low as age 13 come into our clinic for treatment. During this pandemic, we're seeing that these numbers are from 2019, 2020. We haven't had an updated report, but we're seeing that those rates are even higher. Next slide, please. We'll touch base on HIV and AIDS for Marion County. We have approximately 154,000 people as of 2020. 234 of those residents are living with HIV or AIDS. The rate per 100,000, which is 150.4 prevalence, that is actually considerably high, even though the numbers don't seem that they don't appear to be as high. So we are actually in the top 10 for HIV and AIDS cases throughout the state. We do have 65% of the infected are virally suppressed. At the Marion County Health Department, we're working hard to ensure that our residents are linked to care and taking ART medication. Next slide, please. So this is just the area codes or zip codes of HIV, AIDS, not in care. So as of last week, I helped send in a report for the not in care list. And this shows the 46 clients in Marion County that are HIV or AIDS positive and are not receiving ART medication or do not want to be found. So we don't know if these 46 are getting medications or if they're not, which does put our community at risk. So those are the only slides that I do have. I just would like to add that it has been a difficult time for some of our nurses, seeing some of our residents at such a young age coming in with chlamydia, with gonorrhea, and trying to educate the best possible way how to prevent or to help the issue that we're having in our county. That's all that I have.
So with that data that was shared, so we're not only just sharing data, but this is what they hear us to talk about. So with this data, what do we do with this data and how do we partner with our schools? That is our main focus of being here tonight. We want to partner with our school. We want to work collaboratively with our school and our community to see what does solutions look like, what does support look like. And that can start with some of the programming, of course, that we offer at the Marion County Health Department. Our health educator, and she facilitates our program, taking pride in what that program consists of.
Good evening. As she said, I'm Renee Harris. Just recently in the role of health educator for Marion County. And I just want to tap on a little bit of the Take Pride in Prevention program. And then also we have another program that we are working with that is called oh, I'm sorry. I've been in the community I've been here all my life. And a lot of people don't know, but this one knows me because we went to school together. However,
We graduated together.
we graduated together in 1973. Thank you so much, sir. And loving every minute of it. And next month I'll be 62. And I pronounce it to the world because I thank God for the years. I worked with Michigan State University Extension for 14 years, teaching basic nutrition in our schools, in our churches, with groups which we can just pull together in our homes. I work with MyApp program and teaching our young parents how to cook in 30 minutes, giving them cookbooks and teaching them, it's more to feeding children than just giving them microwavable food. Spend time with them, and our recipes had a kids tip in it. So you can give your kids to do this, if they're this age, and to do that, to bring the family together when they're cooking, when they are just at home. And it was just 30 minutes from start to table to feed their children. So that's what I did prior to this. And then I've been in this role since November, and just excited about being able to take it a little bit farther into helping our families, because we can talk about it, but what are we doing about it? And so I'm excited about this. And so this program, Taking Pride in Prevention, is an educational program that promotes safe sex practices among our adolescents. We're not promoting it, but we have to try to be real about it. It is happening, and thus the statistics before. So we educate teens 12 to 19 years on safe sex, including abstinence and contraceptives. Information that we have can also help the parents to be able to talk to their children about their health topics. And so that's the thing that we really want to interact with our parents as well. But the goal is to reduce the rate of teen pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases. Next slide, please. So the delivery of the program is simply, we will separate the teens in groups where they identify with their gender. And then we will take part in at least two, sometimes sometimes we can do four-hour sessions, or we can do 2 all-day sessions, and we'll feed them and we'll get them interacting with us, and then be able to have the instructor-led demonstrations within these cohort groups. There's an entry and an exit to gauge how they're getting their information, are they receiving it, and are they able to share that information with others. Next slide, please. So this is just a little bit of how we do what we do. That Taking Pride in Prevention is the program name, but the curriculum that we use is Making Proud Choices. And so it's 8 modules that we go by, and for lack of being able to see how to read them up there, I can go by this. The first one is getting to know you and the steps in making your dreams come true. 2, consequences of sex, HIV infection. 3, attitudes about sex, HIV and condom use. 4, strategies for preventing HIV infection. Stop, think, and act. 5, consequences of sex, STDs, and then consequences of sex, pregnancy. So 7 is developing condom use and negotiating skills. And then 8 is enhancing refusal and negotiation skills. So this is just basically what we are offering. Next slide, please. This is just, and I'm just gonna roughly say, this is where our teams can be a part of a youth leadership council, and it's created within the program itself. And so that's just an outline of the things that happen as we create these councils. Next slide, please.
And I just want to just add to that, it's not so, this is not us just implementing the program. We have team buy-in and team participation by having a team advisory board also connected with our community advisory board. So teams are really sharing with us some of the issues and concerns that they're having, some of the barriers for communicating with their families and supportive adult, that mom, aunt, uncle, cousin, anyone who's supporting the team. So it's very important for this to be team driven. And so we do have a team advisory board that feeds into our conversation and helps to facilitate our delivery of the enterprise.
So now the Positive Parenting Program, which we affectionately call Triple P, is a program for families and caregivers to develop effective parenting skills. This is where we support the parents and caregivers. We do one-on-one consultations, we do seminars, and also group discussions. We do group classes, and right now we just recently started into this is our third week now, starting Thursday, where we've got some referrals from CPS, which is a great deal, I think, for them to come in and get some new skills and strategies on how to work with their children. So we're trying to connect the community. We also provide parents with the knowledge and skills to raise confident, competent, and resilient children. Next slide, please. Okay, so 2 groups now that we work with, just for now, we are gonna add more, but for now, it's called Triple P, the group session, which parents interact. Action is their key. So they have to interact with us and talk with us about what they're having issues with. And, you know, we can offer solutions on what we can do. And then we actually do role play so they can get a feel for what it's going to be like when their children are acting out or what have you. This is in the group setting. It's in a classroom, and it also is for 8 weeks with those sessions 5 through 7 are one-on-ones with me on the phone. And then we all come back together for that last one. And then the next one is Triple P, which is a primary, and it is a shorter session with group sessions or one-on-one, should I say, and then currently taking within 2 sessions over 2 hours. So again, they can go 1 hour per week for 4 weeks, or they can go 2 hours and have it done in 2 days. Next slide, please. What is this? This is just giving you an idea. Session 1 is positive parenting. Session 2 is helping children develop. And session 3 is managing misbehavior. And I just want to make a comment on managing misbehavior, where oftentimes we think discipline is what our mom used to do, but you can do assertive discipline without getting close to child abuse. And so we teach that, and we want to see that happening in our community and raising happy children. Next slide, please. And this is the last thing I want to talk about. Is just we give out tips, and they are sheets that they can always go back and refer to as resources once they're done with the class, or they can always call me if they get kind of stuck with something. But these tip sheets are resources for all the parents. These sheets are, they cover a wide range, like hurting others, or kids have fear of people coming in the house, or toilet training, and just to name a few more, separation problems, tantrums, fighting, and even what to do when your child bites. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited to be in our community, and thank you for your time.
So, and then we have also our MyApp program, Michigan Adolescent Pregnancy and Parenting Program. This is a program that works with our pregnant parenting teams and their supportive adults. And so a supportive adult, again, can be aunt, uncle, cousin, anyone who supports the pregnant parenting team. One of the main goals of our MyApp program is to reduce the number of pregnancies. When I first started at the Marion Health Department, I started in the role as a case manager working with the teen population. And we didn't see our first repeat pregnancy until year 2 of the program. And so one of the things that we try to make sure that we're not just working with the team, but also providing that undergird that families need. And again, that's part of the reason why we're here, pleading with our school board and our community, because we are seeing increased numbers. We are seeing teen pregnancy and other things where we want to be a support. And with the MyApp program, we focus on 4 key areas: secondary education success, maternal and child health outcomes, adult family, and family wellness. So again, that was, I kind of, and so this under family wellness, some of the things that, and you guys know this, right, because you're working with kids with education. A lot of times, it's not just the education piece, right? It's the housing, it's other issues that kids and families need support with. And so we, again, and I just don't want to sound like a broken record, but we really want to be a support to the school district. We want to give support to our kids and to you guys to help any way that we can to help lift some of the load, because we know that you guys are seeing some of the same population which we're serving that we're seeing come through our place. So what better way for us to have a strategic plan to work together to try to combat some of these issues and concerns. And then we have this caption that will share about our son and father that we have that works towards it.
Well, good evening, as she stated, I am a MyApp case manager, but I'm also here to share with you guys another program we just picked up last year. It's called Son to a Father. It is a 12-week curriculum. It's an hour, and the set time is consistent with same time every week. What we do in this, I teach our young men, you were born a son, and now you are a father. We have 12 curriculums on sharing with you fatherhood, your past, your present, and your now. And the biggest take of it is you can learn from whether your father was in your life, positive or negative. You take those turns, what you learn from this curriculum, and you move on with it. And I have had thus far 12 young men who have completed all 12 weeks. And they have said it's a phenomenal program. They saw growth. They saw growth from being engaged with their kids, better co-parenting, staying on jobs longer, more focus. This program here can really help and reduce the violence in our community right now, because now they have something to do. They're not just out here wandering the streets or wandering aimlessly, I'll say. This program is so powerful, and actually, very quickly, this program helped me build a better relationship with my father. I'm in my 40s, and I'm like, I've always been a mama's boy, but going through this program, it opened up some eyes and unraveled some layers that I didn't know was there. And then after sitting down and sharing with my fathers who was in this program, many came to me and said, Mr. Patterson, you're right. I reached out to my dad now. Now I understand some things from how I'm 7 years old, told to be a man out of a house when I don't even know how to tie my shoe. How I gotta be a man up when I don't even know how can I enjoy being a boy. It's different things. These curriculums, I don't have a slide, but these curriculums, it goes from being a superhero, protecting yourself, unrevealing the mask that we wear sometimes as men we gotta hide our emotions. And that's the real huge thing, mental health for men. We struggle with that because we don't know the benefit of, if we take care of ourselves and we get ourselves checked out, we can take care of our families and others. But we neglect ourselves by being so-called this protector. We can't protect others, we don't protect ourselves. And I'm talking about the mental aspect of it. So this program is real, it's very powerful. I wish I had my dads here today to just share from their experience of it. And I'm looking to really partner with the Benton area schools and other schools to just get young men to participate in this. And I'm trying to get it to where they don't have to be a father, because we have other skill sets in here. Conflict resolution, I mean, it's powerful. And I will probably get a later copy to you guys later, but I was here to share about that and to support my team. But we're just looking forward to the opportunity to really work with Benton area schools and our community. I'm looking forward to serving our young men. I'm a little biased. I'm looking forward to serving our young men. So. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. I know we tried to go over time, but I do want to say that Sons of Fathers was created by a native Robert Cole Williams created that. Thank you again for allowing us to present. Mr. Sean Robinson, we had a conversation, and thank you for allowing us to invite the opportunity.
You're very welcome. I was honored that you had us in mind. I believe we have questions from our board. So we'll start with trustee Bowens and then Vice President Bradley.
Your numbers are alarming. Two questions, and one is probably not related. I know we have a lot of, and I'm trying to be sensitive in what I'm going to say, migrant workers that come from different countries that are often with those diseases or infections. Are you guys tracking that? And is that number included in this report?
So
For all of it?
So for white, you're at 218. For Asian, you're at 1. Other, you're at 90. For Black, you're at for chlamydia, for our county, white, you're at 890. Asian, 8. Other, 402. For 200.
So my next question is, with COVID, the health department declared a county emergency. With the statistics that you guys are showing, have you guys thought about declaring this a public health crisis?
So I think maybe I can answer that. I don't know. We've had, just being candid, we've had a lot of transition as far as leadership, and different things that has happened with the health department. I have been at the health department for, again, almost 7 years. Prior to the health department, I worked 8 years at the Boys and Girls Club, and I know for a fact I have a strong focus on this community and this population, our teen population. So I stand here before you to say, I know you asked the question of wanting to get the layout of get the graphics and what does that look like. I'm saying students, I know students that attend this school, students that I know of, and we're seeing a lot of students that attend this school. They're part of that number. So I would like to see at some point our health department to be at a place that this is declared a public health emergency. But for me, being an African-American woman working at the health department, I'm not waiting on someone to declare something an emergency because I see it as an emergency. That's why. I'm hoping that we can get to a place that that is something that should happen. Even you talk about like one of the things that I brought up, even a gunfight that is happening. Should that be clear? But that's not. But the work still needs to happen. So
I applaud your effort. This is my first time seeing these facts, and I wish and I hope you guys can make sure every citizen throughout Marion County gets this. If it's a pamphlet or something on the doors, door-to-door campaign. This is very alarming, even if you look at the numbers in African-American, and if you look at our high school population, that's over more than what we have at the high school population. That's just alarming to me, and not down in our district, but just saying it. So thank you.
yeah, and I don't want it, and so alarming, I want us to look at that as one piece of, right? Alarming, but we have with everyone that's in the room, with our school board, with the health department and the staff that you have, and with what I do in my role, we have the ability, we have the resources to address the issue. That is what I don't want us to stay stuck at the numbers. I want us to
Thank you.
Vice President Bradley.
I want to be real brief, so don't want to delay the time. I do want to commend you all on doing excellent work. The Son to a Father program, that's the first time I've heard of that, and that's really good because definitely our fathers need support. I did see the numbers. I do remember looking at numbers when I worked at CARES years ago. And I remember at one point in time, we used to be like number 3 in the state. My question is for the TPIP module, is there a program that works with the LGBT student population, or is that kind of incorporated into that, or how does that work? Because I know sometimes that population does have different needs.
That is something that is worked into the curriculum. No one is turned down, and then also let us be about our business partners that we have working with the house.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I would like, I had an opportunity to witness the Son to Father program. It's absolutely amazing. Before I go to that, with the numbers, it's good to know that, you know, when you look at the numbers, because when anything is negative, it automatically take on, Ben Harbor High School take on the, whatever it is, you know, people just find that a comfortable place to be. But we know that we don't have 1,000 kids, you know, when they come out, when they come out, everybody in Ben Harbor High School, all of our kids got chlamydia, all of our kids got AIDS, all of our kids got, and that's what we do. So it's good to have that kind of data to educate our people in our community, and in particular, our children. I think that this would be an excellent partnership. As a matter of fact, the key word in all of the presentation is prevention. Prevention and education. Because there are students in here, believe it or not, that do practice abstinence. Everybody in high school, all of these students are not sexually active the way people think in these kids' minds. So we're gonna get in and do preventative work that is very, very good. As a teacher at Fairplain Middle School, this is when I really saw for the first time myself, one of our 8th grade boys in 8th grade, well, 2 of our 8th graders, one of they became pregnant. She got pregnant. She was in the 8th, he was in the 8th grade. The girl was on one team, the boy was on our team. For the first time, because when people talk about teenage pregnancy, all they talk about is the girl. They really talk, they don't really, you don't really hear very much about the boy. And I had an opportunity, our team had an opportunity to witness this. And fortunately, he had a powerful father who was there standing in the gap. His parents were together, his father was right there. He came to school every day. He cried every day. He said, I do not want to be a father. I am embarrassed. And he was just, I mean, he was depressed. He was all of those things that people only think happen to girls. It happened to boys. I had a chance to witness it. His father, they took a stance that they did not believe in abortion. His father said, we're going to do this. Years later, I had an opportunity to see the student at Ben Harbor High School. I was here when they were here at the high school, still doing a great job with his daughter. I saw his daughter, and he later on at Union Park, he was combing her hair. He had his daughter with him. As a matter of fact, I just saw him probably maybe in the summer, and he said his daughter was getting ready to graduate from high school. And so this is something that's very, very important. And I would hope that it is something that we as a district would embrace, to do everything that we can to help our children and to help our parents who are struggling as well. A lot of times we forget what our parents struggled with us. Hallelujah, because we're better now. But a lot of us are better with babies, we're teenagers as parents ourselves. So thank you so much for this presentation. And I appreciate the expanded food nutrition program, another work from Michigan State, for 30 years. And in the chef club and all of those different things, we learned so many things as 4-H'ers, and the expanded food nutrition program. And it impacted our lives. So thank you all.
Thank you, trustee Buchanan.
Yes, I would like to thank the group for coming and presenting. You did a good job. You can't give up on our kids. They need you. And I would like for this board to know and the audience to know that out there in that group, I have a nephew and a daughter-in-law. So y'all hang in there because our kids need you. Parents back in the 60s and 70s didn't know anything about, they didn't teach their kids about sex and all that. So we need you. Hang in there. And if it get tough, just go in the corner and pray and hang in there with them. Hit them on the head, make them do right. And I would like to see my daughter outside before you leave. Thank you.
I have a question.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
I have a question. This is a great program, and I can remember, I don't know, I think it was through the health department that I think it was Tracy Cleveland that also did a program with you guys and gave the kids a stipend, because I can remember my grandchildren going through that. But my question to you is this: have you guys have any thought about presenting, putting anything in place for the younger kids in the elementary schools in a way of prevention, so that when they get to middle school or high school, they kind of are more aware of the types of things that are out there, that they can, not fall into those pitfalls?
So we don't have, like our taking prior prevention, that the youngest age is 12 years old, but then also our triple B positive parenting program works with parents and helping to provide education with parents on healthy ways to parent and helping them with tools. So part of helping parents with tools is keeping parents informed, right, on what's happening and helping parents. And we're going to have a what we call a Cheeto workshop with our parents, with one of our state consultants, and that workshop is going to help to educate parents how to talk to their kids about what is sexual health is like. So to the answer, we don't have anything for the elementary kids because our funding does not allow us. But however, we do have a wide range of, as far as like funding, with our 12 to 24 years old. And then there's a way also still to work with the families through our positive parenting program. Because you guys know this, we're not just working with the team, it's working with the family in its entirety. And so that's one thing that, we're fortunate that we can still work with our parents. And with the MyApp program, with that program, we work with parents, the teams and their supportive adults. And you're right, so Tracy Cleveland actually hired me when I started, so she was the one who hired me before the MyApp program.
Good job.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We're so excited that you are interested in this collaboration. I would like for you to follow back up with Dr. Townsend, because we need to know what that looks like from our part of the partnership. What does Benton Harbor area schools need to do in order to make this happen?
Thank you guys so much for providing us this opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, the next item of business is superintendent evaluation results. It's actually board report B1. And it's not super complicated. So this is actually the adoption of MASB as a superintendent evaluation tool for the 2022 cycle. We had some conversation on it in our last meeting. Majority of the board supported the evaluation tool, but we decided to take it to an actual vote. And then there was also a suggestion. We primarily have done, well, in 2020, we did the evaluation in December. This past school year, we did the evaluation this past January. And so I believe it was Treasurer Creighton that suggested or mentioned that she liked it better in January due to the holiday scheduling and having limited timeframes in December. So I did put a space there for us to actually confirm the month of the evaluation. So I'll read the board report as it stands, and then we can have discussion about the actual date if we want to maintain it as December or change it to January. So staff report subject adoption of the MASB superintendent evaluation tool for the 2022 cycle. Today is the date. Reason for board consideration: the Board of Education must evaluate the superintendent on an annual basis. They must vote on the evaluation tool they will use. Facts and analysis: the superintendent evaluation tool, as created by the Michigan Association of School Boards, MASB, has been used in the past to evaluate the superintendent of the district. It is recommended that the same tool be used for ease of comparison from year to year. The superintendent evaluation will take place in the month of, and we'll determine that. Policy reference, policy 1240, recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education vote to adopt the Michigan Association of School Boards superintendent evaluation tool for the 2022 evaluation cycle. And so I know that Treasurer Creighton suggested January. Is there anyone that is opposing the thought of doing the evaluation in January again?
I think, Madam President, when we talk about doing the evaluation in January, right now, this board, we're 2 years in. We have an election in November. And so we'll probably, we could have the same board members, or we could have new board members. So in January, if you do it in January, during the organizational meeting, we are just reorganizing.
Potentially with a new board.
You could possibly, in 2000, there's 4 of us that came in together.
That's a good
If
point.
all 4 of us leave, I think that's in 2024, you will have a whole new board who will be charged with evaluating the superintendent without knowing or having been able to close out. So I would like for that to be taken into consideration. I think that some of the frustration was, and I know we'll go down to this with our annual board calendar. I think it would be a lot easier once we start operating under that parameter that we've adopted, and then we'll be able to do it and not feel like we're overwhelmed in that particular season and at that particular time. So that would be a concern of mine, to say January is.
So that is an excellent point that I did not consider. So I thank you for bringing that to our attention, because myself, Buchanan, and Bradley are up for reelection, and there's always a possibility that 3 new board members could come in who would then be charged to evaluate the superintendent who they have not worked with. So that's a valid point. Vice
Madam
President Bradley.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I do agree with Secretary Triplett on that, because you don't want to have a whole new group come in and then they haven't really had a chance to go through the whole school year with the superintendent. So I do agree that we should keep it at December, but we just make sure that we stick to what we have in the board calendar as far as going back to the evaluation.
Treasurer Creighton.
Yes, thank you. Actually, that is a great point, a very great point, and I appreciate it. So actually, I think it might be better to even do it in November, so that if we stick to our quarterly calendar and then our 6-month timeline and then our 9-month timeline, it'll be perfect timing. I know that there are laws about motions being made and decisions being made. I'm not sure of the timeline, but there's a timeline of new elected board members. When you're leaving a seat, I don't think you're supposed to make certain decisions within like a 4 to 6 week timeline. So perhaps November would be even better, so that we can get those things done before the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. And we'll be able to close out all of those things before the holiday. So I think it's a great point. January in this case might be too late. November might be a better month.
Madam President,
Trustee Raquel Martin.
I would just like to ask the superintendent, how does that affect his calendar?
Thank you. My opinion and best practice, I think is December is the best month to get it done. Gives the full 12 months from January to December to do good work. So that's my recommendation. However, I'll do whatever the board asks.
Well, even if you look historically,
Secretary Triplett, you have the floor.
oh, I'm sorry, thank you. If you look historically, with Dr. Thompson didn't come into this district until February. Okay, actually came into the district in February, had been hired, I think, prior, a couple of months, something prior to, but actually was here in the district in February. I think that, there will be a time when we might have to make the necessary adjustments, and if somebody come in and they've only been here 6 months, we have to evaluate them for the 6 months that they serve. So I don't think it should be predicated around the actual superintendent, because we don't have any control of that. I think I can support Treasurer Creighton's thought of looking at it from November, because in November is when the elections are. The actual elections are held, but the people do not come into office until January. As a new board member in waiting, at the last meeting of the previous board, there were some decisions that were made, and just this is just with my feeling. This might not have been the case or the intentions of it. But it was like, we're going to take care of all this business before these people come on. And we're going to do that without, and if we look at it, this is serious business. This is not individuals. I mean, we are individuals. We're representing our constituency. We're not just representing ourselves. These people put confidence in us to do the things necessary and what's best for the community. So again, I don't know if from January to November, would that be enough time? If you look at our annual calendar, and I did email that to you guys, so you get a chance to look at it. But it does have the information in there. This is just annual things that we off our check off list. So yeah. So,
Madam President, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
go ahead.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Since the date is not in the resolution, is it possible? Oh, it is actually, will take place the month of, okay, I apologize.
So we can actually, because we are still kind of having discussion on it, we cannot decide on the month.
Okay,
We don't have to firm that. I just put it in there because it was up for discussion. So what we can actually do, Liz, if you could just do me a favor.
I can make a motion to amend the
Yeah.
resolution and we can move forward.
All
Is that
right.
okay?
Yes, so we're gonna amend the resolution to remove the actual month. So that last sentence, the superintendent evaluation will take the place the month of is being removed from board report B1. And so we're just gonna strictly take the vote on the adoption of the MASB tool. One of the things under new business is the board retreat that I want us to attempt to schedule. So maybe we can firm up that date at the board retreat. So is there a motion to approve board report B1?
I'd like to make a motion to support B1.
Is there, okay, so the motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Rockette Martin that we approve board report B1 for the adoption of MASB as the superintendent evaluation tool for the 2022 schedule or cycle. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
No.
Okay. Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes,
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan, motion carried.
Stepped out.
All right, next on the agenda, we have board calendar updates. We'll be doing this week monthly. Secretary Triplett.
Okay, if you all would go to your emails, I sent it to, I did send it to you, Pat, electronically. I don't know, Mr. Corson, I think I included you in the email that I sent with the attachment of the board calendar. This right here, it moves quickly. If you look at it, and like we discussed, we adopted it last year. So right now, at this particular juncture, when we talked about it at the last meeting, we talked about, January, everything in January was taken care of. But when we look here, these are annual things that need to happen. So these are the types of things that definitely need support not only the superintendent, but it support our work as it relates to governance, oversight, and accountability. Where we, like in February, we should have set annual goals. That's something that we need to be working on, and probably we can bring that forth in our special meeting, our retreat. But review process and goal setting in the meeting, draft the superintendent evaluation process, adopt superintendent goals and communication plan for upcoming school year. If you look here, identify dates for superintendent evaluation cycle. What are going to be the actual date? This calendar helps us to stay on task. Elect our MASB and board of directors, update on student count numbers. That report should be that if we were on this, then tonight we should have an update and a report to this district and to this community as it relates to student count numbers. In March, a progress report on district goal setting, planning and plan, review budget policies and procedure, approve next year's school calendar. So in March, the school calendar for the next school year should be ready right now, according to the work that the Michigan Association of School Boards and school boards across the state of Michigan, these are the timelines that they use. And so it should not be in August and July, people finding out bus schedules and all these different things, and everything is chaotic because it has been presented to us in March, our school calendar for the following year. So I think this right here is something where it says the red things, the budget things, there are some things that are being sent. Some of those things are their things, but these are things that we need to make sure as the ones who's looking, how many feet up, Vice President?
6,000 foot view.
That from that view. This is from our view, not that particular view. So working on the budget assumption. So if you go through and look at this calendar and what have you, I think this will help us too, Madam President. We do have a working document that we have approved. I think that we're on top of some things, but this is something that we just need to make sure we don't get further and further behind, because in April, if we look at April, we should have our first informal superintendent evaluation update. And so April is next month. And so we got a lot of work to do, but I have all the confidence in the world that this esteemed Board of Education will be able to do what is necessary in order for us to be able to do our job and to take out the personal and to keep it professional and in order.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett.
Thank you.
I want to mention that there was no election required for MASB for February. I had Liz double check with them for that. The superintendent is going to be giving us an update on his goals for the fiscal year later in his session of the report. I know that was for February. As far as the dates, we did elect our tool for the evaluation, but I would like to have, and I'll wait until new business, I would like to have our board retreat in April, and then we can finalize and firm up our dates for evaluation in April. So some of the things that are on here will either be done tonight, or we will ensure we get it done in April, whether it's in the standard board meeting or in our board retreat.
Sounds good.
All right, awesome. Any questions for Secretary Triplett? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed with committee reports. We have Treasurer Creighton first with finance.
Wonderful. It's so good to be a part of a great committee led by a great chief. I would just like to thank my chief of finance, Mr. Scott Johnson, and my committee. This is my second year as committee chair. I'm very proud to be a part of the finance committee, led by the great work of Dr. Townsend and our chief of finance and his staff. In our committee meeting this month, we talked about our ESSER 1, 2, and 3. Last month, we had an ESSER 3 community input session. And at that session, we talked about ideas and ways to use that that federal grant to help with implementation of programming here in Benton Harbor area schools. And so at our meeting this month, we pretty much talked about ESSER 1, 2, and 3, what we actually use the monies for. And as you all know, we have a positive fund balance right now. We have a positive fund balance right now. Yeah, so praise God. We have a positive fund balance right now. And, you know, I think in small businesses and community agencies and in even personal households, that COVID relief really did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to give us a boost for a time such as this right now. You know, right now, we really don't know. I mean, who knew that we were going into war or that things will come up? But praise God, you know, that some grace was given to us and we do have a positive fund balance. And, you know, we didn't go shopping when we got our ESSER grants, but we decided to do some backcasting, to think about how we can be innovative with these monies so that, you know, we can put ourselves in a position for the future. And so I'm very thankful for that. That was pretty much the gist of our meeting. We just kind of talked about ways that we spent the monies. If you guys go through the budget, I'm sorry, the reports, you'll notice I think it's on page towards the end, and I'm not going to take up a bunch of time, but towards the end, you'll be able to see the 2020 year to date versus the 2022. And so there are a lot of projections in here. And like I said, we're in a good place right now. Everything is on point. We've not overspent so far. We're halfway through our budget year. We did do a budget revision, and like I said, I'm just really looking forward to potentially hiring. I know that we have a vacancy in our grants management position, and that'll be critical as we close out some of our programming with our literacy grant, and then also our title grants, and just kind of moving forward with those things. What questions do you have for the Finance Committee?
Any questions for our chair?
Over here.
Trustee Bowen? Oh, she can acknowledge you. I'm gonna be quiet.
I don't see any questions. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mhm.
I have a quick question on your investments reports with the finances.
Okay, tell us what page, please. The pages are at the bottom.
16.
Okay. Go ahead.
Are we just acting as the bank? I mean, are we issuing, how many of our students are getting advantage of those scholarships?
Mr. Johnson, would you like to answer that question?
Prefer to do that in a board update. That way, the information will be more complete, more accurate than the reporting without that data at my fingertips.
All right, thank you.
So Mr. Johnson basically said he'll offer that in a board update so that the information is accurate. Any other questions?
So if we have any questions about specifics with the finance division, do we send that directly to the chairman of the finance department? And then they give us the information? Because I know in committee, there's a lot of things that happen, that may happen in committee meetings that don't actually come out on the floor and exactly to us.
Okay.
You know? So,
Mhm.
you know, just, and I think that's not just this committee, that's just all of our committees. How do we get this information out, the layman, in layman's terms? Because I know some of the things for many of us is not as easy to decipher or disaggregate. And you guys have an opportunity in your meetings to ask those questions to the chief financial officer when we don't. So if there's anything, Madam Chairman, is there anything that you all plan to do to help us become more clear?
Yes, sir. If you look at this document, even though it's a large and overwhelming document, if you look at it, there is a ledger and a table of contents in the document. And so you can pretty much look at that. The reports are numbered and then it's coded to the right. So you can use that ledger or that table of contents to kind of help you navigate the topics that you're actually referring to. But if you have a specific question about a report, we're more than willing to answer your question. Like if you looked at a report and said, okay, on page 5, I have a report, a question about something that's reported in red, like what does that mean? And then we'll be able to answer that specific question. So do you have like a specific question or are you saying in general?
I'm just saying, in general, I don't have a specific question.
Okay.
tonight, You know what I mean? I
Uh-huh.
just think that, not being on the finance committee
Mhm.
and what have you, not knowing all the different things, because some things are presented in one way, and oftentimes we don't have a clear understanding of what it is. And when questions are asked here, from our chiefs and what have you, a lot of times they don't know what we're going to ask if we have something in general. They, might not be prepared. In particular, I know they're very mindful as it relates to finance before speaking.
So Dr. Townsend wanted to jump in, but.
I'm sorry, I didn't see him.
Yeah,
I
he was trying to-
apologize.
He was trying to support in the response as well, but I just wanted to remind the board that when you get your agenda, you can send your questions in advance if you have particular questions that you're thinking of prior to the meeting. So the chair and Dr. Townsend and the chiefs can ensure we have those questions answered either prior to the meeting or when we get here. And then I'll defer to Dr. Townsend.
I'll make sure we put buzzers here so I can hit it. So you
I'm sorry. I
trying to
wish
get your
this
attention.
table had a curve to it because we can't see. I'm so sorry.
You good. I think it's, we already have a system in place on how we respond to any board inquiry. So what I would say is if there's any questions, you can shoot them to the chair or myself, and I'll ensure not only that it gets on the committee agenda, but that inquiry also will be added to that weekly status report. Always on the last section of that weekly status report, any board question that is asked is always listed there. So we can just put it right in that system right there.
So
Thank you.
please copy them both, the chair and Dr. Townsend, so they're both aware of the relevant board question. Thank you, Treasurer Creighton, so much.
No problem.
Next, we have our Chair of Human Resources. And so as you all are aware, Treasurer Creighton rocked it out last year, being both the Chair of Finance and HR. This year, the committee has adjusted it slightly, so we are balancing the responsibility of our board, and Trustee Rockette Martin is our new Chair of HR. So I'm going to defer to her to give the update.
Yes. And I too would like to give a shout out to, and I always do, to our HR person, Ms. Gales. I appreciate her her professionalism, and I appreciate her level of knowledge in the HR department, and to my colleagues who also serve on that committee with me. Basically, Mrs. Gale gave us a presentation, which was wonderfully done. And I'm going to ask at some point in one of the meetings that she shares it with our board about the duties of HR and what they are about. And one of the things that was in that presentation, I'll just go through just the general headlines of them. Let me get on the right page. Role of the HR, does the workforce planning and employment for the district, does professional development for the district, does the compensation structure, the packages for compensation and benefits, takes care of the employee culture, risk management for the district, which includes like safety and privacy and workplace things that are legal that they have to do, compliances, takes care of the contracts. And then we also talked about our teacher in training program. And one thing that I would like to really highlight with that is that the fact that those that go through that program are able to get a master's degree and get some compensation to help pay tuition, in the form of a stipend to help them actually get a master's degree. And it's not something that they just hand to them. They are working full time and they're putting in that extra time in doing their studies. So it is a legitimate, degree. So I thought that was a really good program for our district to fund and be a part of. We also have in our district a thing where we say we give second chances. And I was especially elated with this because so many times as a young person, you may get yourself into situations, trouble, and people don't want to give you a second chance. You know, once you're done with this, you're dead, nobody hires you. Well, we have procedures in place. Of course, we know there are certain things that you do that we just can't hire you for, but there are procedures in place that can help you get a second chance and be able to get a job and be a productive citizen in the community. And so I really applaud us for that. All right, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we're still looking for, I believe, a chief academic officer. They did have a candidate. I'm not at liberty to really elaborate on that, but we did have a candidate, or we still do have a candidate. I'll find out later, I guess. And for that position. Also, we do have some things on the horizon that we were looking at. Can't say all of them because I don't want to spill the beans, but know that we're working and we're looking toward the future to bring new and innovative programs and things to our district. That's my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Trustee Rocket Martin?
And again, Madam President, as far as spilling the beans or giving information, this is a committee, but the Board of Education should, all members of the Board of Education on all of our committees should be kept in the loop on what is going on in our various divisions. And so it shouldn't just be that these three people, because they're on a committee, are the only ones that know what is going on. So I think that's something that we need to be able, when they get out, we do have correspondence that's confidential, that this is what's going on, this is what's going on, this is new, this and that and other. So everybody will be in the loop and be able to give input before things are brought here to this table that we don't know anything about. So I would like that for people to take that into consideration. You know, we come here, but you know, should we write it out? Should we have a written report, you know, as chairman of our various committees to get specific? You know, how does that really honestly look? That's what I would like to see moving forward.
Madam President,
Maybe we can do
It's so Trustee Rocket Martin, so I'll give her an opportunity to respond, and then just so I know that you're new as chair, but you would have to then acknowledge Treasurer Creighton for her question.
I was thinking maybe we could do a forum where everybody could put their part online, and then we could all, when it's done, you know, each committee adds their part to that form, kind of like we did when we, for the strategic plan, we added those people's names, you know, to the form, and then, you know, everybody had a chance to add their part. And when it's done, you'll get the final results, and you can email it to all of us.
Dr. Townsend, I'm sorry, Treasurer Creighton. I think you're trying to help out. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
think a good method we can try next month. Every time we have a committee meeting, we always have an agenda. So we can ensure that we type the notes in on that agenda, and we can share the notes or that agenda with every member of the Board of Education, just so everyone know what was talked about. You know how we do it.
That
We can just
sounds
make it
good.
more formalized and everyone can have it. So whenever a particular chairman is giving their report, everyone can kind of follow along, so to speak. And I think that'll nip it in the bud.
Treasurer Creighton.
thanks for letting him steal my answer. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But no, I was thinking on the same lines of Dr. Townsend, that I could commit to doing like a half page or 1 page of minutes to kind of just give an overview. But then on another note, I wanted to add to the HR that, you know, staff vacancies has been a big thing in our district. And so as a committee, we did talk about potentially working on creating a new position. We're looking to hire a recruiter. Hopefully someone within the district that knows our district, that's familiar with, but Nevertheless, we're looking and working on a job description for a recruiting position. April is a hot month, you know, in the educational world and hiring for schools. And so if we hire or kind of move in that direction of selecting a recruiter, then we'll be able to go out and recruit and work on active plans. I think most companies have as an extension of HR, some type of recruiting position. And so we've talked about that, and that's one of those things that I think will be needed. And so I think it's important that you guys know that we do have a plan on filling those vacancies, and that's one of them, is by hiring someone or delegating the task of recruitment to someone.
Thank you. Any questions for the Human Resources Committee? Any other comments? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett, Chair of Curriculum and SPED.
Thank you, Madam President. As Chairman of the Curriculum and Special Education Department, we have a new committee, as everybody, you know, I think we'd like to welcome Vice President Bradley, and Ms. Raquette Martin is still a member of the Curriculum Committee. As Chairman of the Curriculum Committee, this committee is a very serious committee. And so we will be meeting, the three of us, to discuss what it is, our concerns that we might have, the things that we're seeing that's going on in curriculum, because curriculum, this is what our school is about, is educating our kids. And this is probably one of the committees where you get the least amount of information, you know, and so how does this committee look? How do we want to move forward with this committee? How are we going to be more inclusive when it comes to, you know, to see what's going on within our district, not taking the lead or anything like this, thing in our lane, but being able to get the report, because last year was very contentious, to say the least. It was a very difficult committee to navigate and be a part of. So now we're looking forward to hopefully the committee, the HR committee is identifying someone to fill that chief position. And so we can get some in-depth work as it relates to curriculum. So we have been in contact with each other, the three of us. Mr. Bradley is here. Now, Ms. Raquette will not forget that Ms. Raquette will be at the meeting of the committee, and we will be reporting out to you, Madam President.
Thank you. And I realize in you acknowledging Vice President Bradley that I didn't share who our adjusted committee members are. So for finance for this year, we have Treasurer Creighton as chair. Myself will be remaining on finance, and then we've welcomed Trustee Buchanan to the committee. For human resources, we have Chair Stephanie Raquette Martin, we have Treasurer Creighton, and we have Trustee Bowens. For curriculum and SPED, as Secretary Triplett stated, we have Secretary Triplett as the chair. We have Vice President Bradley has joined, and Trustee Raquette Martin will continue on with curriculum. And then lastly, for facilities, we have Vice President Bradley as the current chair, and then the remaining members of that committee are myself and Secretary Triplett. So we adjusted slightly, and I'll give the floor to Vice President Bradley.
Oh, I did have a question. I'm so sorry.
Okay, go ahead. You have the floor.
I was just gonna make a small request for the curriculum committee, and I don't know if this is appropriate, but I was thinking instead of like groups or organizations coming to the board and doing an entire presentation, if it could be potentially vetted by the curriculum committee, and then if you guys think it's something that the entire board needs to see, then they could potentially do like a 5-minute like kind of update or highlight to kind of just answer any unanswered questions that we may have, versus taking up a lot of their time, you know, to sit here and then really not getting that intimate one-on-one kind of Tiger Nation family environment. It might be helpful if you guys could meet with them at your curriculum committee, and then we could then, you know, only see the small presentation versus, you know, elongating our meetings by doing an entire presentation, or even cheating a group out of time, you know, because of a lack of time.
I think that is something that, as the chairman of the curriculum committee, I think that is something that we want to take, that we will definitely take into consideration and agree with. That's why, as the chairman, with no head of it right now, our superintendent has stepped in and done an amazing job, to try to keep us abreast on what's going on as it relates to curriculum. But when we meet, we will definitely take that in. Any other suggestions to the Board of Education? Anything that you've seen, anything that you would like to see, that you did not see, you want us to work on? If you guys send me that email as soon as possible, I will definitely get on it and make sure that we as a committee is doing our part as it relates to the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett and Treasurer Creighton. Vice President Bradley, you have the floor.
Our last, excuse me, our last facilities meeting was canceled, and I will be looking forward to meeting next week, correct? All right, and I know you'll have an update for us as far as facilities go. Thank you.
That was short and sweet.
Thank you, Bradley. I've never been to a facilities meeting yet. I was excited.
We're gonna welcome you.
Yeah. Come on.
All right, next up, we're gonna give the floor to our superintendent. He is going to take over.
Okay, thank you so much. This is the fun stuff. We always talk about how do we enhance the student experience. In Benton Harbor Area School, we got some exciting opportunities coming up for our young people. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce YMCA Camp Eberhard, Miss Denise Peters. I had the privilege actually over the summer coming into the school year to visit her in the camp and tour the entire facility. Some amazing opportunities lie ahead for our young people. And you have the floor, Miss Peters.
Great to have you up here. So the YMCA does a lot. We do a lot.
Yes, they
do. So when I talked to Dr. Townsend, I said, hey, why don't you come on up? And we did that. And I said, there's a lot of opportunities we have. So we have the opportunity right now to offer the Summer Impact Program is ran by Stephen Reinhardt from Community Engagement with the YMCA. And he actually runs our Summer Impact, which we employ Benton Harbor area youth, about 24 hours summer, work in the parks throughout that park. So with that program, we also teach them job skills and things they can do, and then they get impact the community. So with that, we are this year going to offer an opportunity for Camp Eberhard for our staff workers to give at least 5 of them an opportunity to go to Camp Eberhard and to spend a week there. So now I'll go through kind of the presentation of what we do at Camp Eberhard. But we'll have those 5 counselships where they can stay there a week and enjoy all the different opportunities at Camp Eberhard. We also have the opportunity to send 5 elementary students. So we also do an after-school program, and then we support the summer school program. So we'll take 5 students from that also, and we're going to scholarship them, which is a great opportunity. Now I'll kind of go through some of the things that happen. What do we know about Camp Eberhard? And I don't know if you have the other video that maybe we can end with, the one of the staff talking. I don't know if you have that one. I can't say, but maybe not. That's okay. But that's amazing too, and maybe we can send it out to the board later. That talks about why you would want to experience Camp Eberhard, why the staff is there. And I think that that's really engaging because that talks about the commitment that the team there has to have an impact on you. And when they go to Camp Eberhard, it's not just about all the skills and the fun and the activities you see here. It's how they grow in their character development, who they are internally, and the intrinsic values they have, meeting new friends, overcoming fears, having new experiences, gaining self-confidence and self-efficacy in some things. So here you see they have all different opportunities. So waterfront, we have archery, we have rivalry, we have archery, we have waterfront. And when you look at that, you'll see the campfire, they introduce sailing, and over there on the bottom right, that's a really, really high place, Coops Tower, where they can go up and they can overcome the fear of jumping off into the water. But that's also, number 1, being cheered on as you go up there, and then, having the confidence to jump into the water. And then the campfires, where you see on the bottom, kind of talks about all the relationships they have and the friendships that they gain that are a lifetime. Anybody that you talk to that's been at Camp Eberhard. In fact, I have 93% of my staff coming back from last year, and because they love camp so much and have such great friendships on that, and most of those were campers that came to Camp into their careers, but they come back and visit as alumni with their families. So here you can see kind of just to me, a picture says 1,000 words. Just the joy that you can see in those campers as we go through these pictures. You go, okay, and so here's the climbing tower again. You can see the kids. And to watch kids that they'll go up, there's no pressure to it. And they might come right back down. They might go up again, come right back down and not jump. And then finally by the end of the week, have the courage to jump. They get to experience like the climbing wall and the high ropes, which are things that maybe they might not get to experience in their everyday life. And then we also have the equestrian, the horses, a lot of hands-on things like our rocketry program where they get to they create their own science, their own rocketries, and see how far that they can have their rockets go, and each day maybe gain a little bit more on how they manage to engineer their rocket. Again, friendships. I like to say that because relationships is key. And then you have the photography that they can gain through a whole new lens, kind of experience the world and the friendships and the experience of others. We have trail biking, we have outdoor cooking, we have land sports. All these things that the kids get to try and win with friends and new experience and outdoors in nature. And then we have an astronomy program also. And so we do astro every week. The kids can choose to do that. But there's also an astronomy week the kids can choose to do that. So our scholarship that we're going to give to the campers is not limited. It's going to meet like when they're free to come, what they're interested in. And so it's really, I think, a great opportunity to serve the youth. And so I'm really excited to be able to do this. I don't know what you got next. So also fishing. And through what's really cool too about our program, it's not just doing it, it's gaining skills, getting better and better and better. So they start with beginner, intermediate, and then move to proficiency. So by the end of the fishing, you might learn where fish fed where, what kind of line you need, how big a weight you need. But by the end, they'll be able to fillet their fish and so they're able to
Oh, wow.
all those wonderful things. Boats, canoes, and kayaks, and just it's a great experience. And if you ask anybody that's been there, it's life changing. And I think Dr. Townsend, you told me you were a camper yourself, right?
Yeah, I went to Cap Hale Winter when I was in middle school in Detroit. You know, it's an experience, but I think it's something all young people should experience to overcome some fears, meet new friends, and kind of travel across the state of Michigan.
So that's what I got, and I'm going to have him send out too because I think it's really a really cool video that our counselors put together about why they want to work there and the impact that they have on the youth that they serve there. So anyway, thanks for letting me present, and I'm really excited to be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any question? Vice President Bradley.
I heard you say 5 students. How will those students be selected for the camp, or what's the selection process for students to go
They
to
will
camp?
go into a lottery from the kids that we have in the program. So we have kids at the elementary and that we're working with in the summer. And we also have our youth that are workers. And really some of them might not be interested in it. So whoever's interested in it can go in the lottery and those students will be chosen.
Okay.
And we
Awesome.
hope that we can get more and more funding to support that, to gain more and more camperships throughout the years.
Okay.
From the great experience.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next.
Next, we have Ms. Gunter and Mr. Jennings with the HBCU field trip presentation.
While Ms. Gunter is coming up, I want to share that we're trying to get out and about, get moving and shaking with our young people. The high school has been doing a phenomenal job at the leadership. Principal Roseburg, his team is Gunter, Mr. Jennings, have HBCU field trip we like to propose to the board in addition to grad night at Six Flags. So without further ado, we'll pass the microphone to Ms. Gunter and Mr. Jennings. Thank you.
I don't think it's working, but I know I have the voice for any indoor facility. Outdoors, I yell from the dugouts and left field, so I know that you all can hear me. So, thank you, esteemed Board of Education, for welcoming us and allowing us to present to you what we have in store for our young people regarding our annual Black College Tour, that I'm sure very, very familiar with. have here in the slides, if you guys want to follow along, we do have this thing saying that it's our job as educators to not just teach skills, but also to teach students to know, validate, and celebrate who they are.
All right.
I'm here representing our Black History Committee, which also consists of Ms. Bunter as well as Ms. Logan Sharp and myself. And we like to put this together. We've been fortunate to be in a position to spearhead this trip. I've been a part of it for 5 years. I don't know exactly how long Ms. Ross, I think she did it, right? Ms. Ross Golden, Ms. Ross Villa Golden, say that name, but you know, all the years that she spent embedding this into our DNA and making us want to always be forthcoming and strong about how we represent this opportunity for our young. So we want to promote education and inspire students to excel. I think that we all here can identify with the importance of being able to identify with people who are excelling. I mean, if we look across the board, if we talk about, we want you to become a Black doctor, but you never see a Black doctor, you don't think that that's
All
something
right
you
now.
become. It's in the same way with any other profession, as well as being in education. And one of the experiences that you get when you go on Black college tour is seeing so many Black people excelling, so many Black people holding each other accountable, so many Black people with a briefcase and a suit tie, and things that you just don't see when you go outside of your door. And unfortunately, in the neighborhood that we all grew up in.
All right now.
The one I grew up in. That's my son. So, can we go to the next slide? Here, it's pretty universal. This speaks to HBCUs as well as PWIs across the board. But learning outside the classroom improves personal development and well-being. 80% of students feel more confident trying new things. You know, the real world learning obviously does translate to understanding. I mean, basically learning these things in school translates to the real world. And what we see at HBCUs is when you notice and identify with what you're understanding as a people and as a culture, it's more likely to come out of you as well. Next slide. Those are the schools that we have actually on this agenda for this particular trip. We got Alabama A&M University, Oakwood University, Clark Atlanta University, Morehouse College, Spelman College, Morris Brown College, and that should be Fort Valley State University. In that picture, you have April Eddy's daughter, Journey. We were at North Carolina A&T on our last Black college tour, and she offered us an opportunity to come before her. And this is like a lecture hall that they had sectioned off for our kids to come in, and she offered all kinds of tips and advice and support. She left her phone number and email address for all of our Benton Harbor students to reach out in terms of any questions they may have in any way that she can help navigate the process for our young people. So I thought that was very, very important. Each college that we go to, we will try to always identify people who have attended those schools who are from Benton Harbor and find out if we can meet up with them so that our kids can see success. And our kids can see that people who look just like them, who are from where they're from, can go out and do some big things that it's not unattainable for them as well. All right, next slide, please. I think you skipped one. Thank you. We do have some enrichment opportunities for our young people. Although we know that this is an educational experience and the opportunity is more business than pleasure, we also know that people need to let their hair down a little bit and have a good time. Right. We provided those things for them, and they also will be a lot more ready to receive education and business-like things once they've been able to have these experiences. So as you see our list of activities, Atlanta Zoo, Georgia Aquarium, the World of Coca-Cola, National Center for Civil and Human Rights, Dr. MLK's birth home, going to a baseball game. Clark Atlanta versus Albany State, and Six Flags. Yep, and what we have there is we have what we got going on with our security. So we have personnel, Mr. Nick Sharps, and we have our room checks and chaperones. So each chaperone will be responsible for a set amount of rooms At 11:30 p.m., chaperones will do room checks to ensure that all students are in their assigned room. Mr. Dick is a former district security guard and has a military background. He'll be our night security to ensure that students aren't leaving the room, leaving the hotel. So, and after their room checks. Next slide, please. Here, there's data, but first, before we go to the data, I just want to explain these three pictures that you see. Got one on the left, we were at Johnson C. Smith, taking a picture with the people who led our tour. There's always college students who lead us throughout these opportunities. And the middle picture, we're at the Lorraine Hotel where Dr. King was assassinated. We got a chance to view that area and that campus. And then here to the right, we were at Shirley Caesar's church. And we were able to spend time with her. She actually handed me the mic. In case y'all don't know, I was actually on it. Her church to talk about why we were there and what we were trying to accomplish. And then she went around and like randomly asked Benton Harbor students questions, and they were blown away. So it was an awesome experience, and those are just some of the things that we get a chance to do with our young people when we go on this tour. Can you click on the link, please? Blackout, but I will speak to what should have popped up anyway, and that is a list of all of the HBCU students we've had that left Benton Harbor High School over the course of the past about 20 years. Yeah, about 20 years, and I don't know exactly how long that list was, but it probably had about 40 students on it. Yeah, so we had about 40 students who have attended HBCU. Many of them attended this trip. We actually need to add a couple because I have some baseball players who are in HBCUs right now. Deshaun Erskine is at Kentucky State as a pitcher. Daniel Moore, who was the valedictorian of class of, I think, 2020. He's at Kentucky State as a baseball player as well. So, and they both attended the Black College. And that's when they first got their Black College experience. So I know that that's powerful in terms of what it is that we try to represent. So next slide, please. Historically, Black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, have played an important role in enriching the lives of not just African Americans, but our entire country. I'd like to close out by just sharing my personal experience, and I will definitely not hold you with the long, give me about 2.5 minutes. Cool. All right. So I went to Lemoyne on College, 1999 and 2000. And then I returned there 04 to 06 to I had never heard of Lemoyne on College in my life. I played baseball at Kalamazoo Valley my first 2 years as a college athlete, and a friend of mine who actually went here to our high school, Earl Fisher, was on a visit at Lemoyne on College as a basketball player. Baseball coach asked him, "Do you got any baseball players from Benton Harbor, Michigan?" And Earl gave him my phone. Guy called me, I ended up offering, I sent him videos, you know, back then I had to send a VHS. Yeah. So it wasn't happening online like we do it now, but sent him videos, they offered me a scholarship. I've never heard of the place. It's in the heart of South Memphis. And what I learned and what I found out that I didn't know before I got there was there were a significant amount of Black people who really cared about their education, who really cared about their success, who really strive to do excellent. The first day I was there, I got there like 11:30 at night to the dorms. This is like over a week before school started. My coach was up, waited till I got there. The lady who was the overhousing came from her home, met me at the office in the dorms, made sure I got secured in my room, and then by 6:30 a.m., 5 baseball players knocked on my door with bats, balls, and gloves ready to go work out. And I could not turn them down as bad as I wanted to because I didn't want to give up the impression that I wouldn't go work hard. So, but they came and got me at 6:30 in the morning to go work out. And from that moment, I knew that I was in a special place and I was around special people. And people, y'all know, I play baseball. You turn on the TV, you don't see many Black folks. So I'm thinking like I'm an anomaly, being a Black baseball player. And I was saying, I found out that they do it down there. And they play it and they're serious. So also, and lastly, I had my best academic year of my entire, I went to 4 colleges. So it is what it is. I finished with 3 degrees, but I had my,
All right.
my best academic year there. And I know it was predominantly because 95 to 98% of the people on the campus all invested in everybody that was there. The instructors, the teammates, the classmates, everybody. We had study hall as a baseball team, and then after study hall, if there was some people in your class, they would say, hey, now let's go finish. We gotta work on this project. Although study hall is over, we gotta finish it. In class, the instructors and lecturers always said, is there any way we can help you? Is there any way we can help you advance? Do you need anything from us? That was the difference at the HBCU that I got from every other institution that I went to. I wish I spent my whole life at HBCU, but I didn't. So I'll wrap it up, and hopefully you guys understand what it is that we do. And I'll pass it. You want to say anything? You're here for questions? All right. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna have a good time there.
So we're gonna open the floor for questions. They did provide the proposal for the overnight extended student trip that has quite a bit of information in it. I'll defer to Vice President Bradley.
Well, I did reach out to you. I was waiting on this to come to the board table, and I will try to get to the high school and contact you about what we talked about. So, and I just want to say I'm excited to pass this. Every year it comes across, you know, I know we didn't do it the last few years, but I remember the first time I voted on it, because that experience of going out of town and touring the different colleges. I've had the opportunity before, and everybody who knows me personally knows I wanted to go to Tennessee State, but I didn't get a chance to go, you know, that's life. But I'm glad that our students are getting a chance to go out to these different colleges and seeing everything. And as you know, my career takes me all over the country. I pass by them all the time, a lot of the schools that you're going to. One of my cousins, she actually graduated in 07. She's actually going to Oakwood. So I'll tell her that that y'all are coming down. So yeah, yep. And that was my, I ain't gonna age ourselves, but that was one of my high school teachers. So yeah.
My only comment is, as I'm reading, I'm trying to figure out who did Trustee Rocket Martin make cookies for to be
Right. Exactly.
included as a chaperone.
Conflict of interest.
Actually, I used to do the college tour. I did it for 5 years for the high school kids, even though I was a consultant at the time.
Conflict of interest. I do have a comment, question.
Treasurer Creighton, and then we'll go to Trustee Bowens.
I'm really excited. Honestly, I was a student that attended the Black College Tour. I didn't get the opportunity. I wanted to go to North Carolina A&T. It just didn't work itself out. I got a pretty much full ride to Western, and so that's why I decided to go. But I do, I'm not trying to be negative, but I do kind of have one concern. I don't know if, I guess as a board member, if we pass this proposal, can we legally approve that 5 staff members? I guess what I'm saying is I see the teachers will miss 5 days. And with the critical shortage of teachers right now, I'm not sure is that something that we would be approving essentially? Or is that just, are we approving the proposal and then the superintendent would make the noted staffing accommodations as it pertains to chaperones?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, you're approving the trip, and then
Okay.
administratively, we'll get together and make sure there's no lack of coverage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is that around spring break time? Oh.
Trustee Bowens.
I just want to say, first off, this is one of the best proposals I've seen in a long time. I know you've been in my inbox about it. Not shade, but you know, me and her talked about it. Like, and I'm glad to see this is there. My only gripe is
point of order.
Sorry, what's wrong? No, I'm not. Sorry, I hope it's not coming off. Who selects, what colleges do you guys attend next year?
So what we generally do is we look at what we've done in the past. We'll look at the year before and the year before that and determine the area or the region that we're gonna go in. So we've been to, like you saw the North Carolina A&T, we went to schools that are North Carolina in that area. The year before that, we went to the Tennessee, Alabama area. I mean, the Tennessee, Arkansas area. So now we're gonna do the Atlanta, Alabama area. So we look at where the HBCUs are located, and then we determine how long it's been since we've been to that place. And then
Okay.
that's what it's-
I hope next year I can see Virginia State or Morgan.
that sounds like that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Howard University, our superintendent, you know, I hope to see some of those schools, but other than that,
HU.
that's it. Right. Other than that, I'm grateful and this is well done. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good job.
Who, any more questions? Mr. Tanner?
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, President. Vice President.
Mr. Jennings and Ms. Gunter, I know when, was this third trip for Ms. Ross Miller. And Mr. Booth was I hope your night person is like him. Mr. Booth was so tight on them. They came out of the room and we honored them at the board meeting. I did. He was a good chaperone for the night crew. So I don't know if he still, I think he retired from the janitor service at Ben Howard, but he was good. You got to get somebody to really care and don't let no slips out in the end.
Yeah, we know. All right. Any more questions?
Yeah,
Thank you, thank you.
Okay,
You done.
Secretary Triplett?
I'm looking, again, I think that this is absolutely, I think this is something that is very necessary in our schools. Many of our students aren't as naive as people think. And some of them have already made a decision that they would like to attend an HBCU. I think that I have heard from students coming back saying, you know, that they now know where they want to go because they had an opportunity to see the campus, open up, you know, their eyes to places and things that they had never seen before. You know, for me, taking the class of 2000 on a trip to Disney World was the first time we had gone out. I don't know, well, I took my class to Disney World. We were there for almost a week. It's a very, it takes a lot of work because that same fun and that same trip can turn into something very devastating. And people are not on top of their responsibility and their job with young people. And so, you know, I myself, anytime our kids leave out and go anywhere with the staff, I do be very concerned. So I know tonight I would not have anything against this tour and what have you, but I just wanted, you know, to make sure that we understand the seriousness of it and what can happen with our kids because we have kids out of town. We're traveling, they're going into places and spaces right now. The climate in this country has changed. So they'll be in the southern portion of the country. And Michigan is just as rough up north, but I mean, you know, just make sure that we're on top, we're making sure that our kids are safe. I look here and I did see this right here. Who is the coordinator of the trip? Okay, you two are the coordinator. So students that are financially unable to pay and doing well academically, those are the only ones doing well academically. Those are the only ones that will be allowed to attend the Black College Tour at the coordinator's discretion. So you would have to be doing well because you know, a lot of times a lot of emphasis is put on that, but there are kids in this building that are leaders and might not be doing quote unquote well based on what are we basing well on. You know, so that would be a concern at you guys' discretion. Y'all go through and identify, y'all pick these students out and how does that work?
Actually, we didn't even go through with that. I think that that's just something we ready to remove because every student had the same opportunity. We just never did do what did we talk about, cumulative GPA and stuff like that. We didn't go through with it because we brought the price down. So none of the students that had that opportunity, well, they never heard it, they never knew it. We decided against it before we even put it out there, that we weren't going to do those who are in the top 10.
Because there are students in this school district and have historically been in the school district who are oftentimes overlooked and everything just go to the top 10, 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 top 10. And that's fine within itself. And I don't have anything against that, but there are some powerful students. There are some students that need to be exposed to stuff like this that might not be in the quote unquote top 10. So
we wholeheartedly agree.
Okay.
And we have a lot of students who are going on this trip who fall way out of the top 10.
Okay, and are they still required to do work along the trip within this trip? Are they required to do homework? Are they at the end of the trip? Are they still required to do a written report on their experience when they come back? And who does this go to?
The schoolwork goes to their teacher, but any written, like we're going to do a journal every single day of their experience and tour, so that'll go to.
So you guys summarize and check it because this is a long, you know, our teachers will be gone, our students will be gone, and they're going on a college tour. And I'm just glad to know that that still is a component. It's a critical component because a week out of school is a long time out of school. I don't know how this falls into the M-STEP, our state testing schedule. It's right before it. So our juniors will be going, who will be taking the state examination. And so those are just some concerns that I would have, you know, not concerns, you know, if they're going, they need to understand what is expected of them.
Absolutely. Appreciate your insight and concern.
Trustee Raquel Martin.
Yeah, I see here you had 10th, 12th grade students with 2.0 or higher. So that's a fair amount of students. That's a broad range of students that are able to go. And one thing I can say, Mr. Tipler, we do make them do their work. They, you know, we're like parents and we don't play. We don't play games.
Of course, you're gonna say that. You want us to approve this vacation. You got
Conflict of interest.
Seriously, yes, I am going.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't play games. And we've never, as far as I know, we have never gotten a complaint from teachers saying the kids didn't turn in their work.
Good.
Okay, Trustee Buchanan.
I would like to say to Mr. Janet and Ms. Gunther, thank you for the presentation. Now, what I'm concerned about, are you the little girl at Capital Britain when I worked there, was on the honor roll in every grade? Are you the girl? Oh, ain't that sweet? I like that.
She's so shy.
All right. If there's, so we're gonna go to Vice President Bradley and then I'll defer to Dr. Townsend to read the resolution.
Yeah, I was just gonna say real quick, and then I do
For the
see some
staff report.
familiar places that I've been to before. So especially the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, that's gonna be a good one.
Amazing.
I've been there, so yeah, if I look at your itinerary and my truck happens to pass by, I might stop it. Go and do it with y'all.
All right, Dr. Townsend, what's on you? Staff report
Alrighty.
S1.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me get back to it, please. All right. Staff report S1. Subject request for out-of-state field trip for students at Benton Harbor High School, date March 8th, 2022. Reason for board approval. The board shall approve field trips and other district-sponsored trips which are planned to keep students out of the district overnight or longer or out of state. Fact and analysis, Benton Harbor High School is requesting to take high school students grade 10 through 12 on a college tour. The tour will allow students to visit colleges and universities, HBCUs in Alabama and Georgia. Students will also experience college life and acquaint themselves with curriculum information, entrance requirements, and financial aid resources. The trip is scheduled from March 27th through April 3rd, 2022. This trip will accommodate up to 32 students. It is estimated that there will be 7 chaperones. The field trip will be grant and student funded. Policy reference 2340 field and other district sponsored trips. The recommended action is that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education vote to approve the HBCU field trip as presented.
Is there a motion to approve staff report S1?
Support.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Vice President Bradley. Any other questions, comments, or concerns that we haven't already shared?
Yeah, just wanted to ask, because I found out that it was 32 students gone. The student chaperone ratio is 10, for every 10 students, there's a chaperone. So that would be three chaperones for the student. Is that still the criteria? For every 10 students, there has to be one chaperone?
Yeah, but I mean, we're better. We have like a 1-to-4 ratio right now. So it's gonna be pretty, right now it's at about a 1-to-4 ratio. So for one adult per 4 students, 7 times 4, 28, additional 4. So about 1-to-4 ratio of chaperones and students.
Yeah, I was just asking, the district policy used to be that for every 10 students.
Oh, I see.
There, but there, for every 10 students, there should be one chaperone for every, you have to have one chaperone for every 10 students.
Right, but we're
That
above
ratio
that.
is way down. I mean, you guys have increased it. That's gonna take a lot of more of adults.
But that's
About
fine,
7
though.
or 8 adults.
That's fine. That's just a guideline to cover you to ensure that you don't have more than 10 students not with one adult.
Right. I was
Yep.
just asking the question again. Is the district policy specifically to still 10, every 10 students have a chaperone? That's all I needed to know. If that is not known at this particular time,
I
please
will
let me
share
know.
that. No
Thank you
problem.
so very much.
Very welcome.
Mhm.
Secretary Triplett?
Call the
Call the
roll?
roll. Yes, sir.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All I'm gonna say is I better get a keychain or something, right?
Something.
That Martin get to go.
You know what,
No?
Madam President,
Yeah.
you know what, we failed to say, we even took our sped ed students, were part of our trip.
Really?
Can we
Oh,
finish
yes.
point of order?
Ms.
Yes.
Yes,
The
Trustee
resolution
Bowen.
passed.
Rocket is in the groove.
All right, next
Okay.
on the agenda.
Okay.
So Ms. Gunter again with grad night at Six Flags. Thank you.
My calendar is open on this day.
Right.
I'm just.
All right.
Also, the senior class advisor. This year, we are proposing to take our students to grad night at Six Flags. And it is pretty much, just one last time for them to celebrate, the culmination of their senior year. So we do want to attempt to take them there. If you're looking at this, go flyer, don't look at that one up there. Look at this nice pretty little. So basically, we are proposing to meet May 14th at 8 p.m. It is an overnight lock-in. So we are proposing to leave at 8, arrive at maybe 9:15, 9:30, and then they'll allow them to depart at 10 p.m. and then we'll stay until 4 a.m. So if this is approved, this will be maybe the 4th time that I've seen it, and the students do really well. And for the board members, if you're looking at the flyer, they have like safety and security that measures that they take to make sure that students remain safe. So they do not allow, once they're in the park, they do not allow them to leave until they're at the gate of their chapel.
Are there any questions from the board?
Students pay for everything except for the bus. So they'll pay for their ticket, and we are hoping that the school.
Madam
Okay.
President,
You have the floor.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve staff report S2.
All right, so.
Support.
Okay, the motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Bowens. We're trying to move this thing on forward. This is in regards to the request for out-of-state field trip for the students to be able to go to Six Flags over Great America, policy reference 2340. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report S2?
Yes, Madam President. I don't have any questions, but just on the 14th of May, the Blossom Time Parade is being held that day. So we do have seniors and stuff that it's not, the Blossom Time Parade is usually the first weekend in May. But this year it is going to be on the 14th. So you probably have some seniors So I'm glad that you guys are leaving that late so that they'll still be able to keep their commitment and responsibilities and then still go on their senior trip.
We normally leave at maybe 2 p.m. We'll go to 3 o'clock, and then we go out to eat, and then we go to the park. But they did tell us that they have a parade, and we wanted to participate with that. So we gave us some time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next, Dr. Townsend, we have, thank you so much, Ms. Gunter. Next, we have the substitute teacher resolution.
Thank you so much, President Robinson. Staff report 4. Well, let me open the resolution first. So this resolution to grant temporary authority to the superintendent regarding the requirements of a substitute teacher. Benton Harbor Area Schools in Berry County, Michigan. A regular meeting of the Board of Education of the district was held Benton Harbor High School on the 8th day of March 22nd, 2022. Whereas the Board of Education believes it's in the best interest of the district to have the flexibility to hire substitute teachers as appropriate who meet the criteria set out of the temporary provisions in Michigan Compiled Law 380.1233. And whereas under Board Bylaw 0131.1, the operation of any section or section of board policies not established by law or contract may be suspended temporarily by a majority vote of the board members at the public meeting held in compliance with the law and board policy. Now therefore be it resolved that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education grants the superintendent the following temporary powers to hire persons as substitute teachers who are qualified under the recent revisions to Michigan Compiled Law 380.1233, specifically MCL 380.1233 10-12, notwithstanding the fact that such employment may be contrary to existing board policy related to substitute teachers. Now be it further resolved that the superintendent is directed to keep the Board of Education informed of any actions taken under this resolution as soon as is practical in light of the circumstances. Now be it further resolved that the temporary power authorized by this resolution are in effect through June 30, 2022, unless otherwise rescinded or extended by the board upon majority vote. Now be it further resolved that the execution of this resolution is conclusive evidence of the Board of Education approval of this action and of the authority granted herein. And I'll read the resolution, or excuse me, the staff report.
1 second, Dr. Townsend. Liz, before this is actually put in the records, on the second page of the resolution, it says, President on behalf of Benton Harbor Area Schools Board Dog Education.
Typo.
We want to get that typo.
Ooh, child.
You want me to move forward, Ms. Robinson?
Yes, you can
Okay.
proceed with S4.
Subject resolution regarding temporary changes to substitute teacher requirement, date March 8th, 2022. Reason for board approval. The Board of Education needs to approve any changes in the authority/powers of the superintendent. The facts and analysis is this resolution is offered in response to recent changes to the requirements of substitute teachers. This recent change was made to address the chronic shortage of substitute teachers in the state of Michigan. This resolution will allow the superintendent to waive certain requirements for substitute teachers so that the district can more effectively staff our schools. This resolution is only effective until June 30, 2022. The policy reference is bylaw 0131.1, policy 3120.04. And the recommended action is that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education vote to adopt the substitute teacher resolution as presented.
So essentially, you're just asking that we allow you to accept the relaxed requirements for substitute teachers.
Yes, ma'am. The governor made that change in the law to support district with staffing. So that'll be very helpful for us. We do have a critical shortage here in our district, and this temporary restriction of policy will allow us to effectively keep our schools in person for instruction.
Is there a motion to approve staff report S4?
I make a motion to approve staff report S4.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made by Vice President Bradley and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan.
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next, we have the superintendent's 2022-2023 goals.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm excited to share my goals for school year 2022, 2023. My goals are completely aligned with our district strategic plan to ensure that we're moving forward with not only student achievement, but enhancing the student experience and moving the needle on academic achievement. First goal area number 1 is to support our learning environment and culture. And I share that I will support the development, maintenance, and implementation of a multi-tiered system of support that enhances the culture and learning environment. My second goal, to support academics and programming, I will support the increased student achievement as measured on local, state, national assessments. My third goal is that I will engage and inform all stakeholders to maximize district support. Fourth goal is that I will support the recruiting, hiring, development, and retention of the best staff to improve student outcomes. And last, I will support the development, implementation, and evaluation of a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety in Benton Harbor area schools. I'm committed to doing that. Our strategic plan outlined objectives to get that done. Very excited to move forward with it.
All right, any questions for the superintendent?
So these goals are goals that he set for himself. Am I not correct? So when do we have a discussion, or when are we a part of any of the goals? These are things that he's presenting to us. Is there a time when we would be able to speak and with the superintendent, though, when we look at these particular goals and identify these particular goals? No, I'm not sure exactly what's being asked of us, because are these things measurable? You know, I would like to see more in particular.
Detail.
More detail. I'd like to see in particular a curriculum. I'm just going to put it on the table. That is, I have been saying it since I've been here. The advisory council gave us a recommendation from the last surveys, and it came in and speak with us, but I'd like to see something specific and measurable as well. These are general, you know, just hearing them and seeing them there. So how do we actually measure them? How do we know whether or not these are something that are attainable? What do we do along the way? What is their checklist? Those are the types of things that I would like to have a discussion about.
So we have our retreat that I'm hoping we can get scheduled for April. And so that would be, I'm planning for us to do that first checkpoint with him in that month, and we can kind of go over that. And then one thing that I noticed is that our committees directly coincide with our goals. And so some of that work and those details will be fleshed out in the meetings, but I agree, you want to see something tangible so that once we get to evaluation, we have an evaluation tool, but also how well did you actually accomplish the
Yeah,
goals?
I mean, you know, when you look at these
Yeah.
goals, what are the measurables? When can we expect these particular things? You know, all this can't be done overnight.
Mhm.
You know, there are things, there are steps of, you know, in 3 months as it relates to this goal, what things can we look for to show us that you're working on this particular goal? Because this is, like I said, this is just, you know, it's broad, it's from our strategic plan. And so you do have some alignment with what it is, because the strategic plan is what we and our community stakeholders put in place. And we said that we were going to work within those parameters. But those are just, you know, just a little bit more specific. What is our role as a Board of Education in this particular process? Because we can't just have it there to say that we got it done as a checklist. We got some work to do with these goals.
Madam
So-
President, I'm sorry.
So my response to that is that I would like to request that Secretary Triplett work with Dr. Townsend on, as the chair of curriculum, work with him on goal area 1 and 2, learning environment and culture, academics and programs, who's directly connected to your committee. Personnel and leadership would be Trustee Rocket Martin. Operations would be trustee Bradley. I think the communication and engagement piece is more than likely all of us together as a group. So we can kind of, if you guys want to kind of do some one-on-one.
I could take
support.
that as a team of the board, since we
Yeah,
have
the
4
whole
committees,
team.
I can hold that one down. And I'll ensure that as we work together, we can keep these goals on each committee agenda. So we always know that we're touching on them and keeping real-time data and qualitative information on exactly what we're doing to accomplish. For clarity, we're hitting the ground running. July 1, boom, we're hitting it with the Gantt charts. It's going to be really official, so everyone can see what's going on with regards to Benton Harbor Area School and accomplishing goals.
Madam President.
I was next, I'm
And I'll
sorry,
let
sir.
Treasurer Creighton jump in first.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I was just going to say, as I support everything that was said, I think a best practice would be to take the language from the evaluation and look at that tool. I think when we did, we were trained on it, and then we had the opportunity to actually go through a full cycle. And one thing that we noted when we were discussing each, I guess, score, if you will, it was noted that there are measurables in the evaluation. And so if we take the language from the evaluation and pull out some areas of need or improvement or concern, I think it'll help kind of move these goals in the right direction. Basically, I guess what I'm saying is, in a way to move forward with this would be to just look through the evaluation and kind of align the evaluation with the goals, so that we could then, this could actually help with artifacts as well. Dr. Townsend, as you're putting together your artifacts, if you align the goals with each area of the evaluation, then it'll be easier to gather artifacts at the end.
Copy.
This is the question too, as we look at this, and I guess this might be something that we can speak, I can speak directly with you, the committee chairs and what have you. The superintendent's goal, these are goals that he said that he wants to accomplish. Is that not correct?
From the strategic plan, it's completely aligned. So
Yeah,
we all decided on these goals
So
together.
is there anything that we as a Board of Education, when we talk about this portion of the process, is there some responsibility for us, to say, okay, this is what you have and this is what we want to see? So, that's my question, and we can talk about this later. I don't think we can do it. We don't have to do it right now.
That's why I assign chairs to certain aspects, because the committees have like the closer eye look on each of those areas and can provide that insight as to the updates that you guys would like to see or the specifics.
Okay, sounds good. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
All right, next we have Climate and Culture Survey, Human X update, Dr. Townsend.
Yes, real briefly, good news, signed, sealed, and delivered. We signed the contract with HumanX. We expect to get that first survey out this month. So please stay tuned to your Superintendent Weekly Update, so we can keep you completely updated every step of the way with where we are, not only administering the survey, but I'm very excited to share the data of the survey, so that can also give us measurables on how to move forward. Now, let me be clear. We're going to be surveying our district for 3 years. The goal is to get better and better and better with climate and culture. So wherever we are in school year 21-22, that's a great benchmark to how we can get better with climate and culture as a district in 22-23, and then 23-24. 3-year commitment with HumanX Ventures. Very excited about the opportunity, and we will update the board on where we are with that as we take the assessment.
Madam President.
You have the floor, trustee Bones.
I was reviewing old past board meeting minutes, just as a self-reflection. And those questions are going to be open-ended, so there's not a point for them to put any input in those questions, correct?
That is correct. Mr. Tim Tarantine presented that to the Board of Education, I believe in January.
Yeah, I don't know how I got over that or misunderstood that. I guess because I was sitting over there, I remember, and I was just coming off of COVID. How are we rectifying a problem? Because multiple choice, studies show you can make it to your liking, where it's not telling the truth or hearing the input for what the staff are feeling. I think we need to make sure we're allowing our staff to voice their concerns, not just through multiple choice.
Copy. So what I'll do is I'll reshare the proposal from HumanX with the Board of Education, and I'll also bring that concern to Mr. Tim Tarantine, who's leading us in this climate and culture survey. But there is an art and science to the survey that's been developed. It's top shelf. It's second to none from my understanding and the references that our Board of Education received from it. But I will share those concerns with Mr. Tarantine to ensure that it meets your satisfaction as well as the board in its entirety.
And not even just meeting my satisfaction, if we're paying $25,000 for this, we need to hear what the issues are going on, because evidently there, I know it's a teacher shortage, but it is a problem that's going on in our district, and multiple choice does not allow us to, and I hope I make sense and I hope my colleagues understand what I'm stating. Multiple choice does not allow us to really hear their concerns or their feedback. You can ask, is an apple orange, I mean, an apple yellow, and people can say, well, it's green and red, and it's not on the survey. So you're gonna say, everybody answered the survey as the apple is yellow. That's basically what I'm getting at.
Yes, sir. I'll run that past Mr. Tarantine and make sure that we can understand that we get a accurate depiction of what's going on in our district and we can move forward with it. And I do want to be clear, although it is about $24,000, that's $8,000 per year. So it's not one lump sum each year. That's over 3 years. So $8,000 per year.
And how long do you think that survey is going to take? And will you be able to allow the staff, after they write that, do the survey, will they be able to voice their input?
Yes, there will be an opportunity for feedback. It's high priority for us as a district. So as soon as we get it rolled out, we signed the contract, I think maybe 2 weeks ago. So they're actually gearing us up to rolling it out at each one of our campuses in addition to central office. So I'm excited to share it, and I'll be transparent the entire way because whatever the problem is, if any, I definitely want to make sure we solve it. So I'm happy to see whatever it says, good or bad, because it gives us a starting point to increase the culture in Benton Harbor area schools.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Secretary Triplett.
It's important. It's very important. And there are some good things that's going on, but there are some bad things that are going on. There are some things, some of our staff members have taken a chance and have come here and spoke, and some of them have been penalized. And as a result, or these are the kinds of things that we are hearing.
Penalized for speaking at the board meeting?
Speaking, have had issues and different things, and we're hearing that some of them are even afraid to even respond or to talk or to have those kind of things. And this is very, very important, because as we move forward, if we got this survey and we really, really, really want to get to the real deal, whether we like it or not, people need to be able to express themselves in order for us to be able to help and make the necessary adjustments. These things are not personally against me. They're not personally against you. This is what people are feeling. If they're feeling this way, we need to know, because we cannot continue to lose staff unknowingly. We can't continue people to leave this district. So I guess what I'm saying, and I hear what Trustee Bowens is saying, is it open-ended? Will they really be able to say what they're actually feeling? Is there some room in there for them to talk about what it is that they're feeling? Are they going to see the survey? I mean, I don't know, just some things.
Yeah, do you want me to see if I can get Mr. Tarantine to present to the board again?
No, I don't need him to present to the board again. I'm just saying, if this survey, I can look at it, I can get with you and look at it.
Okay.
And, just to hear from what people are saying and what they're feeling, we want to make sure that when we get this data, that this data is really the feel of what the people, and they're not feeling like, okay, I'm just doing this multiple court, I'm just doing this room without any connection.
No, this is not a survey. This is a serious climate and culture assessment for organizations, private organizations, school districts across the country. So this is a top shelf survey. I'm more than happy to reshare information with the board to get a more understanding on what the survey does. If we need to bring Mr. Tarantine back to explain the nuances or to get more trust, if trust is an issue right now, if we need more trust, I'm more than happy to invite him back to answer any. Maybe we can have him come to the retreat because we're paying a pretty penny for it, and I think it's top shelf. I thought the board was in agreement. I'm more than happy to revisit it.
No. As far as the board is, you okay?
No, I just.
Okay. As far as the board is concerned, we have like our teacher union rep and what have you. You don't have to be with us, and you probably can even talk to them and see what they're feeling about it. Not just specifically us, but you have interaction and a great relationship, president of the Benton Education Association and those types of situations, to talk with them, make sure that as you go forth with them, the teacher, the support staff and what have you, that they're feeling that what they're getting ready to see and what they're going to do is going to give you an honest assessment of how they really feel.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
That's basically it. So when we end up, we'll have some good stuff.
Okay.
Be it good or bad, and then that'll give us something to really work toward to keep us strong and moving in the right direction.
Copy.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone. Next, we have teaching and learning update.
Thank you so much. We've been doing a lot of great work, a lot of teamwork. We're team minded. As you know, we did have a chief of school resign top of January. I have great colleagues like Dr. Crow, who's our assistant literacy director, Mr. Paul Corson. A lot of people have been doing heavy lifting, even Ms. Dawn Fredrickson, myself. So I'm excited to give a teaching and learning update to the Board of Education, so you can know where we stand. As you know, we have that $3 million over the next 5 years that we're investing in literacy. So where are we with that? We just had recently Michigan Department of Education come on our campus to survey our program and give us feedback, led by Dr. Crow, who's doing a phenomenal job. So without further ado, Dr. Crow, take it away.
I need to raid your closet. I need to raid your closet.
That mic isn't working.
Oh, it doesn't? No, no, no.
I can't, I mean.
That's okay. I can be loud. Yeah, I'll just tap into my teacher voice. So as Dr. Thomas said, I'm the Assistant Director of Literacy and Curriculum for the district. And I just wanted to run through some of the updates that we have over some of the items that we have happening now and some of the things that we're looking at for this summer. Am I not loud? All right. Oh. All right, sure. There we go. Okay. Here we go. So the first update that I have for you is in regards to the Little Free Libraries. I spoke about that.
Yeah. It must be a short. Something's going on with these mics.
Yeah. Maybe I should just not move.
Yeah.
So our Little Free Libraries project is one of our community outreach components of the literacy grant that we received from the state of Michigan. We purchased 5 kits, Little Free Library kits, and we've identified locations. This is actually a 2-stage process, at least initially. Our first stage is to put them at each of the buildings. Now we have one here at the high school, and that was already, it was already placed here. I'm not sure when, but it's been here for a little bit. So we're now placing Little Free Libraries at each of the buildings. So we'll have one at Cape, all the way down through Deck. And as soon as the ground thaws, what the plan is for this is that we'll be holding grand openings for these Little Free Libraries. We're going to do community outreach events. At each of these events, we'll be giving away books. We'll do kind of a community literacy event night. We're going to try and coordinate that for each of those events. So we'll do these very exciting, we're hoping, very exciting events where we're giving away books to anybody who comes. We've got book bags, we've got books ready to go. And it's just a way to celebrate literacy and make it more accessible to parents and community members. The second stage of this process will eventually, hopefully, be in tandem with our community at large. We're going to be working with the mayor to set up locations at bus stops. So high visibility, high traffic areas where we can, again, get books in the community's hands, not just our kids. So this is definitely one of those pieces where we're reaching out into the community and we're trying to do more and provide more to the community at large. So The next one, March is reading month. So we're doing a lot of literacy events for March. And I've listed these here on the presentation. Each school is doing its own kind of literacy event. So starting with DEC, they're doing kind of a Dr. Seuss theme month. So they've got the Cat in the Hat coming in. They are doing a lot of Dr. Seuss readings with the school. And then they're ending the month kind of with a women's month in reading. So they're going to be doing some events highlighting women in literature as well. At MLK, they're doing Reading Madness. So you probably received a few emails from both MLK and FPE to come read. And at MLK, they're actually doing a sort of battle of the books, almost like a March Madness style bracket with the reading. So the students will be voting on their favorite books throughout the month. At FPE, they're bringing in readers and they're doing active read alouds throughout the day. So everyone will be sharing. So it's kind of a community outreach event plus getting kids excited about our favorite literature. I know I'm going to be reading at MLK tomorrow and I'll be reading at FPE next week. So I'm pretty excited about that myself. They do have a few openings. So if you've got time and you're willing, they would love to have you. And if you don't have flexibility in your schedule, you can always record yourself reading and they'll share that with the kids as well. At the middle school, they're doing a book madness. So we've got a bracket set up just like March Madness, and students will have access to the books. We'll have the books actually out on display. They can select any book that they want to read. They'll vote on their favorite books throughout the month, and we'll come down to a middle school winner for our favorite book for the month of March. So that's in process right now. At the high school, they're doing a school-wide read. So they've chosen 4 texts, 2 by Angie Thomas, and I'm gonna forget the other 2. Jason Reynolds are the other 2. So both authors are going to be on display. They've got the choice between all 4 books that they're going to be reading. So it's not one book only. It gives students a little bit choice, helps parents kind of guide their students in making good choices with what they want to read and making sure that they feel comfortable with what they're reading. And they're going to be holding discussions and reading together. So this is going to be a really great experience for the high school as well. And then at CAPE, they're actually doing a poetry exploration this month. So every day they're getting poems and sharing poems together with the goal of kind of promoting their own poetry exploration themselves. So those are our literacy events. If you'd like to get involved or you'd like more information, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to walk you through some of this. So we've got 2 new support programs. This is additional kind of literacy and curriculum work that we're doing. We're looking at where our scores are. We're looking at what our student needs are specifically and how we might better support those needs. The first of those is with Tiger Tutors happening at the elementary level. Initially, we started with 3rd grade because of the 3rd grade reading law and where our scores are at. We've targeted the bottom 30% of our students. And we've done invitations to those students. And then as we have more room in the program, we're actually rolling more students into the program. We have teachers signed up. So we're running 2 sessions, Monday and Wednesday. We have 2 separate cohorts. And then we have a Thursday, Friday cohort as well. We are in the process of starting a 4th grade outreach as well for that. So I just received the information from Mr. Litton last week, and we're working with the transportation department to make sure that we have busing for that. So hopefully we'll be launching the 4th grade version of that in the next couple of weeks. May not do that until after spring break just because of timing, but that's what we're looking at. Additionally, for the secondary level, we have launched the Writing and Academic Support Center. So this is geared towards all core subject areas, providing tutoring support, one-on-one support, that research-based type of intervention that we know will bolster students. It's both drop-in and rostered. So we're in the process of actually rostering students or getting students rostered for that program so we can provide transportation. The tutors are trained in kind of best practices when it comes to a writing center model of tutoring, if you're familiar with writing center work. So we'll be doing kind of reactive teaching models, working with students to build skills. That's our main goal, is making sure that they've got skills that are applicable beyond just the one assignment in front of them, that they're able to apply those skills to their work in general. So we're in the process of launching that. We'll launch that after spring break. Tiger Tutors in action. You can see a picture here. We've had great success already with Tiger Tutors. I'm going to land on that for just a second longer. We're using something called the Hegarty curriculum. It's a remediation and intervention curriculum. And we're seeing growth in our students already. So the program has been in operation since about mid-February, and we're already seeing movement in the students who are involved in that program in their skill set. So they're focusing on both letter recognition and blending sounds so that they can create words, things of that nature. So very low skill sets, but we're seeing great growth right off the bat. So we know that this is a research-based program. We're seeing that it works and we're doing great things with those kids. We're just hoping to do the same thing with more students as we're able to. So we're really looking at moving kids out of the program and bringing more in, so we have a wider impact on what we're doing at the elementary level. And finally, our summer literacy project. So I'm very excited about some of the things that we've got on the docket for the summer. With the grant, there's a lot of community outreach and a desire to get books in hands. So one of the ways that we're looking at doing that, our first is our Unity Garden, our community Unity Garden. So what we're hoping to do towards the end of the school year, actually start putting books in kids' hands about gardening. So what do you need to do? Maybe third grade is looking at irrigation. Maybe second grade is looking at what types of vegetables grow well in Michigan, things of that nature. And then they're reading about those and applying that knowledge by actually producing their own garden. We'll be able to roll this into the summer as well. And as we move through the growing season, they'll learn about different aspects of gardening and growing and harvesting produce. And then we'll be able to provide that produce to the community. So students will be able to take things home. Community members that need to utilize the garden will be able to. It's just a really great outreach that hits a lot of different kind of cross-curricular elements. So that'll be happening this summer. Another idea that we have is book fairs. We're hoping to kind of set up a scholastic style book fair, but totally free to the community. We're looking at including that in our summer school program sometime during the summer school season, and make that available to students, to community members, walk in as many books as we can possibly provide. That'll be available to anybody who comes in. So our literacy team will be on hand during that event to be able to help people pick what they would like to read, to make recommendations, to talk about different books. We're hoping it's just going to be a really great event, and we'll kind of tie in some of our community celebrations and literacy events with that as well. The final event that we have on our docket for this summer would be our creative writing event. So we're looking at ways to make kids excited about literacy, and we have local authors that we have access to. So we're looking at bringing in local authors, talking about their writing process, looking at what they've written themselves, and then having kids actually go through the process of writing pieces of literature themselves, whether it's poetry, it's short stories, songs, whatever they want to do. And then showcasing those skills after a day of writing and growing together with these authors. So that sums up kind of our big ticket items for the summer. And I just want to leave you with this quote, something that's kind of come up in our work, especially with MDE recently. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So we're trying to approach things in exciting ways that are engaging, that make kids think differently about what they can do with their education and what they can do with their skill set. So I really appreciate the fact that you trust us to make these changes and do this hard work, because we're in it for the long haul. It's not going to be easy. It's not quick changes, but by increments, we're making a difference, and we're seeing that. We're starting to see it in baby steps. So that's exciting. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments for Dr. Crow?
I saw that you were doing the little libraries, and I'm gonna try to be real quick. Have you thought about reaching out to some of the churches in the community to set up libraries there at the churches as well?
So that would be something we're looking at our options for locations. And we're also looking at partnerships for donations and kind of maintenance. So something that it can be maintained long-term. So that's on our list. That's actually something that came up with MDE when they came down to do their visit. So that is definitely on my list to start reaching out to folks to see how we might be able to set those up.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Just an idea, I can remember we would have our kids write and submit their stories to publishing companies. And we actually had a third grade student that got published in one of the Ebony Junior magazines. So, I mean, that was phenomenal.
Especially with some of these
work,
events.
right?
Yeah,
They
that's
loved
definitely
seeing
an
their work
option.
published. And the magazines were glad to receive those kinds of stories from kids. So that might be something that our kids can look at doing.
It would definitely make sense with that creative writing event to be able to produce things and push them out to actually see themselves
Right.
published. That's so exciting.
Yes.
I have a question, Madam President.
Yeah, Ms. Lewis.
I remember young authors. It was district-wide. It was a competition across the district. And all of our students would write books and, they would identify the genre and all the different things that go along with literature. And then they would produce those books and we put those books together and bind those. And we have district winners across the entire district, all the way up to high school. I guess I want to ask this question when I look at the literacy grant. And I see the things like the library, you're talking about the library out here in the front, the community library, that was the alumni librarians who came in here. And we did this whole entire library, which is now gone. But there were 1960, 1961 librarians from all over and friends from all over the state and country who came and did this thing for our school district. But is any portion of the literacy grant focusing in on this state test and preparation with our scores being so low? I mean, when I see literacy and in the area of reading with 5% of our students proficient, with our third, is there any particular money that's going directly to the third grade initiative? Those are things that I have not heard from anyone as it relates to that, because those are the things that people are measuring everybody by, is those state scores, whether you want to ignore it or not. Though that's when they look at Benton Harbor area schools and they see these scores with 5% of students, 3%. This literacy grant, I was excited about it because I thought that was something that it was going to really, really target, as it relates to our students. So do you have a component that's doing anything with that or a plan of action?
Yes, actually, a great deal of the literacy grant is going towards that in particular. The Tiger Tutors specifically that I mentioned is one of those components of targeting the third grade for third grade reading law. But beyond that, within the literacy grant, the letters training that our staff is going through, we've got cohort 1 that started in the fall this year. And that this is a program geared at developing a solid pedagogy and approach to teaching literacy. So how are students learning how to read? How are students who struggle with literacy learning how to read? How can we better support those students? So that's one component of it. And this is a highly research-based program that was suggested by MDE when we received the grant. So this is one of our grant partnerships. Along with that, we're using SLD Read. This is another training component. Now, originally that was a training that was designed for students with disabilities or dyslexia, but it has been found to be highly effective with students who have incredibly low reading scores, and we're working towards remediation. So we're using this across the district as a way to intervene. Instead of having a tier 1 class, we're approaching it as if we're having tier 2, and we're providing all of these interventions and pushing these interventions into the classroom.
So
as a way.
are you guys using our data?
Yes.
I mean, are we looking at patterns of first graders of 2 or 3, 4 different cohorts of first graders, second graders, and looking at the data and seeing, okay, this is where our kids are missing. These are the things that our kids are not doing well in. Third grade tests, fourth grade tests, and be able to, okay.
Yes, so that is part of what I've been doing with this grant in particular, is when I pull the data and I look at cohort data and that nature, I'm looking for those patterns of where we're seeing students struggling, and we're targeting those areas of struggle with these training initiatives so that teachers can better address those issues within the classroom. So instead of targeting handfuls of kids, we're pushing it out to all students so that we can bring everyone up. So it's a slow process though, because we're talking about a shift in how we're approaching instruction in the classroom, or how we're screening students for information. And that way we can adjust how we're teaching in the classroom itself. But again, it's a slow process, because that is as any of our teachers could tell you, letters itself is a hefty program. There's a lot of work that goes into that. It's a definite shift in how you approach what you've done in the classroom. That requires a lot of work on the teacher's part, and they're doing that work, and they should absolutely be commended but it's a slower process because it takes time to implement that into your teaching. And we're only into unit 3 of an 8-unit system. So as we move through it, there's more application. We've laid the groundwork for what we're doing now. So we're going to see those changes, and we're starting to see those changes, but it's not going to be anything where all of a sudden you're seeing huge grade level jumps overnight. This is something where we're going to see incremental change over time that is eventually going to pay off, especially as we move through. If that makes sense.
I'm just seeing 95% of our students are not proficient. 87% of our students are not proficient. 92 in all these various areas. So the majority of our students are not proficient. We don't have time to just continue. It's a slow, continuous process of what have you. We have qualified, certified teachers. We have students that for whatever reason are not being successful on the state examination. So there are a lot of different things. I just was, when we said the literacy grant, that was something that I was really, really hoping to hear, that the emphasis would be seriously on putting into, if it's instruction, I don't know what it is, but when you're saying that 95% of your kids are not proficient, 87, 90, that's something, and we can't keep on saying that it's a slow process. We got teachers. We got to teach, we got to look at this stuff, and our kids got to move. We got to get these kids proficient.
So what I would suggest is that this might be a greater conversation for curriculum committee. You guys might want to maybe explore the agenda for this month and kind of connect to dig into that a bit deeper.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Crowe.
All right, so we appreciate your patience. Your comrades left you. You looked at, you're hanging out to dry by yourself. Yes, trustee Bowen.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay, so my question to the board is, do we want to take a brief intermission or keep it moving?
Let's keep it moving.
All right, let's keep it rolling.
Is it possible for us to omit things from the agenda? Can we revise the agenda?
We almost done, aren't we?
No.
We still got.
And
Yeah,
then
they
let's
took
be
all the
mindful also
policies
that
off.
our attorney is here as well.
I know.
we'll Be moving expeditiously.
Can we put a time
So
limit?
the only thing that we have is financial reports. We have a couple HR reports and then Mr. Miller's updates, which I trust that Mr. Miller can get through his rather quickly. Now, the challenge is going to be the Board of Education holding their comments.
Madam
At a
Yeah, let's
certain
hold our
minimum.
comments to the end.
Or can we put a time limit of 2 minutes?
We can set 2 minutes for comments. Okay, so we're gonna keep it moving. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. The subject is monthly financial reports. Reason for board consideration. A set of financial reports is provided to the Board of Education each month. Facts and analysis this evening, it is recommended that payments for all the district's funds be approved for the month of January 2022. Policy reference is 6470, payment of claims. Recommended action is that the Board of Education approve the January 2022 payments for the funds listed below.
Is there a motion to approve staff report F1?
So moved.
Support.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Vice President Bradley. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report F1? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson.
Yes.
Vice President Bradley.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next on the agenda, thank you, Mr. Johnson, for your
Thank you,
report.
Mr. Johnson.
Next, we have Ms. Gail, who is going to do the human resources update. Staff report H1.
Reason for board consideration, a list of employees whose employment relationship with the district is or will be separated is submitted to the board each month. Facts and analysis, it is recommended that the Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the following staff. Policy reference for 4140, resignation and termination of staff. Zaire Kana, teacher in training, kindergarten resignation. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H1?
So moved.
Support.
The motion has been made by by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Vice President Bradley. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson.
Yes.
Vice President Bradley.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
No.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Staff report H2, Ms. Gill.
Reason for board consideration, a list of employees whose employment relationship with the district is or will be separated is submitted to the board each month. Facts and analysis, it is recommended that the Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the following staff. Policy reference 3140, resignation and termination of staff. Jeffrey Comfort, teacher band at the middle school. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H2?
So moved.
Support.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Vice President Bradley. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson.
Yes.
Vice President Bradley.
No.
Secretary Triplett. Yes. Treasurer Creighton.
Yes.
Trustee Bowen.
No.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
All right, Ms. Gill, staff report H3, new hires.
Submitting for board consideration to approve the employment of staff in accordance with the revised school code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis, it is recommended that the board approves the superintendent's recommendation for hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120. Alexandria Shear, school social worker, the central administration. This is for the next school year. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H3?
So moved.
Support.
The motion has been made by Trustee Buchanan and supported by Vice President Bradley. Any questions, comments, or
Madam
concerns?
President,
I got a
You
comment.
have the
too.
floor.
I'm trying to think of the politically correct way to say this. Is this individual used to working with African-American urban children?
So this individual does have some former experience working in school districts. However, this person is going to be newly certified at the end of this school year. And this would be the first experience as a social worker in that role. This position is funded through Grant 31-0, correct? State Grant 31-0. And in order for us to take advantage of this grant, we needed to find and hire a qualified candidate before, or make an offer before February 28th this year. I should point out that this was the only qualified candidate who applied for this position.
And thank you, and nothing against that. I just know, we had that experience earlier this year where we had the restorative justice, and I told you guys, this isn't gonna work. And she did not last. And I know sometimes when they come into our community, not saying she won't be a good fit, they become culture shock. And they don't know how to relate to the urban African-American children. So that's all. I'm just interested. I don't want to be here next month or, next school year in February voting no on a resolution to accept the resignation. That's what I'm concerned about. That's it. Sorry, I went over my 2 minutes.
It's okay. Treasurer Creighton.
I was going to mention that it was funded by a grant.
Secretary Triplett has a question.
I guess I'm not clear. I don't know how, the deadline was February. This is March. You guys maybe, I just want to know how she's qualified and not certified. I just don't understand it. I'm just looking at this situation. Also, when in the area of social work in this grant, people have been, Western Michigan University and a cohort of students have interns, what have you, that's been trying to get social work students and internships and what have you with this district to no avail. And I know personally, myself for years, that they have been trying to do internships with their social workers. And they cannot get in here. And so, we hear all of this money about mental health, people working. Something was set with the superintendent, behind the superintendent back. The work was shut down for personal reasons. And I just find it's kind of disturbing to me, and I'm trying to just say, I don't even know how to say this in that way, like Trustee Bowen said, it's, people coming in, you in social work, you culture shock and all that, we voted for all these people at the beginning of the year. All these people came into, and most of those people are gone right now. And it's not just that they're looking for other jobs, that we can sit here and act like that's the only reason, if that's what y'all want us to think or say, if that's gonna be the presented narrative. But we cannot, these people are coming in, we're voting people in, and they're leaving. So I was just a little bit confused. She's not certified, but she is certified, she qualified. I don't know, I just don't know what that is, but I'm gonna trust your leadership as our chief of human resources. But that was something that, if I'm sitting here getting ready to vote, that kind of came to my mind. You said she's not certified, but she will be certified by the time she get ready to do this work.
So both Trustee Bowens and Trustee Triplett have very valid points. I should clarify that the intent to hire letter that is sent to the candidate specifies that the hire or the employment is contingent upon board approval, background check, and proper certifications at the time. And also, if I may, President Robinson, Mr. Triplett, I'm not aware of those initiatives. Please feel free to pass my contact information to interested parties. Thank you.
Okay.
1 second. I would just like to add, Western social work program is amazing. I'm a student. I'm on break, but so I validate them. Trustee Buchanan.
Yeah, President Robinson, I can't say what I want to say because I got to talk to you first, or maybe next board meeting. But there are so many loose ends out in the community. And our young people that deserve these jobs and been Harvard is not getting them. And I was shocked at senior night in the gym and how somebody was. But I need to talk to you, being president, and I think you read up on your material and all that. But we got to consider our people, our young people. Like I was so proud to see Ms. Gunter, but there's rumors out there right now, people calling me up. I don't be knowing nothing because I don't go on Facebook. I don't know how to do all that stuff. And I ain't called nobody asking them nothing. I asked one person, one thing, and that was Miss
Craig. Craig?
No.
Goodwin?
I don't know Miss Craig's number. Liz. And she said, don't pay no, how did you find that out? So what I'm saying is, it's just so, I don't know what to say, but I can't say what I want to say. I know what I want to say, but I can't say it.
Okay,
So
well, you can tell me later.
I need you to please answer your phone.
Okay.
I need to ask you a question.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I support that.
Secretary Triplett, can you please call the roll for staff report H3?
President Robinson.
Yes.
Vice President Bradley.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton.
Yes.
Trustee Bowen.
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
All right, Mr. Miller, it's on you to get us on through. Don't feel obligated to read every detail of the page.
Pressure is a privilege. All right, facilities updates. For the high school, the heating unit and the equipment room of the high school gym has been replaced. We replaced the pit by the dumpster that housed the transformers have been filled with concrete and installed a manhole to cover the access. For Fairplain Middle School, the boilers are running good. Fairplain East, tubes had we're replacing the boilers, so they're back in service from last week. MLK boilers are running well. We also added 4 bollards to the 6 that we already had, so we added those this past week. At Cape, the boilers are running fine. For district, we had put new water hog mats that's been installed at Fairplain East, MLK deck in the middle school. We facilitated a tour for Charles Gray Center for the Boys and Girls Club and members of Whirlpool, and also several investors to check out our facilities to see how we can improve the teen center. Water samples have been taken this past weekend from the state of Michigan at the teen center deck, Cape, Fairplain East, and the middle school. And that's it for the facilities updates for this past week.
Trustee Bowens.
I just got one thing that, and I know we said 2 minutes, I got my timer on. One thing that says, in the district, facilitated a tour of the Charles Gray Center for the Boys and Girls Club, a member of Whirlpool and several investors. That right there, I'm not gonna go into that. I think that needs to go to the facility, but that's a red flag for me. That's all I'm gonna say. Done.
Would it be on our agenda for our next meeting? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, next we have the athletic updates.
All right. Our athletic updates: spring sports, baseball, softball, boys track, girls track will start March the 14th. Boys basketball, the team was 18-2 going into this past week. So we're doing a great job going into the playoffs. We March 1st at Lloyd Norris, we won 82-58. March 3rd at Wyoming, we won 88-72. The district starts tomorrow at South Haven against Dowagiac. So come out and support our team at 5:30. I also want to give a shout out to our basketball program. We received high praises for our team, how they conducted themselves at Berrien Springs. We got that from their school district about how our young men cleaned up behind their bench and left it better than it was before they got there. So just want to, I see our basketball coach was here earlier, but I'll tell him tomorrow, shout out to him and his program and his leadership. Our girls basketball program, the team ended with a 11-8 record. This is the best record in the last 6 years. Congratulations to the girls basketball team. We ended on a good note in our season, our last game of the season, beating Wyoming Lee. In the districts, it started on March the 2nd. We lost to Dowagiac 35-31. It went down to the wire. So congratulations to our young ladies on a great season.
All right,
That's it
next,
for the.
next you have a Sodexo recognition.
Yes, I want to give a shout out to our food service Sodexo Magic. We received a notification that it was recognized, our district was recognized as a 2022 No Kid Hungry Breakfast Hero.
All right.
So I want to give them a shout out. It was due to the large increase in our breakfast participation that occurred from October 2019 to October 2021. We've seen an increase of 76% in the average daily participation for breakfast compared to the percent average daily participation of October 2019. So kudos to Ricardo Carter and his team. I just want to give them a shout out and congratulations as well.
All right, next you have student count data.
All right, I have our building numbers, our student numbers, enrollment numbers. As of today, we have a total of 1,493 students. We are now doing a 10 to 30 day attendance report that is prepared 30 days after count day. Count day was February the 9th. So Students that were absent, excused on count date have 30 days, calendar days, which is March 11th. So Ms. Brenda Matthews will have that report on after March the 11th. So we have our accurate numbers. So I will update the board on our next board meeting for those numbers for FTEs.
So what you're saying is there were 1493 present on the count day, but there's 30 additional days to get the counts for students who weren't in attendance?
So now, no, according to our enrollment numbers today, we have 1493.
Okay.
Do you know,
You have the floor, trustee Vaughn.
do you know how many students we lost?
I don't have that information on hand right now, but I can get that information to you.
You can put it in the update.
Okay.
I do have a question.
You have the floor, Secretary Triplett.
I'm sorry. I wanted, that data, how many students? I thought we had 1,700 students. And now I'm devastated. 300 some students. I don't know. But anyhow, in that update, because this stuff should be easily accessible. How many students were dropped? How many, who are we using in this count? Is that including Cape, all of our schools?
Yes.
All of them. We only have 1,400 students in our entire district.
Yes.
1493 is almost 1,500.
1,493.
Thank you.
You can look in your, Madam President,
You have the floor.
in our finance packet, you'll know in red, you can actually see the dollar amount attached to that reduction.
All right. Next, we have scholarship opportunity.
All right. Want to present a scholarship opportunity. Sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha, Iota Omega chapter. The scholarship available ranges from $250 to $1,500. One application for many opportunities. The deadline is April the 15th, 2022. And I will go over some of the requirements. You can send the application to P.O. Box 1564, Benton Harbor, Michigan, 490236021. Attention Scholarship Chairman. The guidelines for the Alpha Kappa Alpha scholarship. Number one, applicant is a female and a graduating senior. Applicant has a 2.7 or better grade point average. Applicant must accept a post-secondary institution of higher learning. 2 letters of recommendation. A high school transcript must be enclosed with the application. An essay. And the last, if applying for the Hazel May Scholarship, you must submit a log of volunteer hours with a signed verification by their supervisor or project leader. And the information is posted. We will post this information to our website as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Miller. I appreciate your update. Next on the agenda, we have old business. The only thing I have noted for old business is the board self-assessment update that some of us have yet to take. So we do need to get that done immediately so that we can have the data back for our April board retreat, because that is one of the things that I want us to utilize that time to do. So just a reminder, if you, I know that I believe there was 4 people who have taken it. If you are not one of the 4, you don't have to out yourself. Just ensure that you get the self-assessment done so that we can go over that in April. Vice President Bradley.
And I just want to say real quick, if we take this, it just determine our climate as a board. So let's make sure we get that done. You know, put personal things aside and let's just make sure we get it done so that way we can see where we're at and how to better lead and guide the district.
Thank you. Next, we have new business. The board retreat was under new business. I wanted to try to get a date scheduled for the board retreat, but what I'll do is I will defer to Liz to kind of work with me, looking at Dr. Townsend's schedule for the weekend and try to compare it with that of the board. And so we'll just follow up on getting that scheduled via email versus taking additional time to schedule it. But I'm anticipating a Saturday in April for our board retreat. We'll do a normal business day timeframe as we do. We'll go over the board self-assessment. We'll go over the superintendent's evaluation step at this particular time, set our schedule. So those are some of the things that we'll do. There was other new business. The Boys and Girls Club is sent me a letter hoping that we can support the Boys and Girls Club of Benton Harbor is in the process of applying for the United Healthcare Empowering Health Grant. In order to apply for the opportunity, they need to submit a letter of support from a third-party community-based source. And so they're wondering if we would be willing to support them in getting this grant to fund triple play program to reduce health disparities among young people in our community. And so I did send that. It says, through the triple play experience, the Boys and Girls Club challenge members to become healthy and active by learning new ways to eat nutritionally, manage stress, maintain physical fitness, form positive relationships with peers. The comprehensive triple play initiative sponsored by the Coca-Cola Company and the WellPoint Foundation nurtures the minds, bodies, and souls of club members. And so they're just wanting, Lakeland did something similar. They're just needing entities in the community to say that they support the Boys and Girls Club receiving the grant. I just wanted to see if anybody had a problem with me signing. It asks for my organization, which would be Benton Harbor Area Schools. So I just wanted to see if anyone has an issue. Trustee Bowens.
Madam President, I think the Boys and Girls Club should come to the board, in front of the board, and make the request known. I mean.
Their deadline was Thursday, so they just sent it to me today.
Oh, we got to do things, poor planning. I say no.
Okay. So that I can just respond and let them know.
I'm in agreement with you. They need to do it. I mean, this is for health community, but I do understand what Trustee Barnes was saying about the time.
Madam President,
Treasurer Creighton,
I would like to make a motion that we support the Boys and Girls Club in their request for community support.
Okay. So in order to, because this is technically, it's new business, but it's not technically on there. So is there a motion to amend the agenda to allow for the vote?
I make a motion to amend the agenda to allow for the Boys and Girls Club grant support.
Okay, is there?
Support.
The motion has been made by Vice President Bradley and supported by Treasurer Creighton. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett, can you do a quick roll for me?
President Robinson.
Yes.
This is for the amendment of the.
Just the amendment of the agenda.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Barnes,
This is just for the amendment, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Trustee Buchanan,
Yeah.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Secretary Triplett, yes.
Okay, motion carries. So I'll read what you didn't hear. The goal is to improve club members' knowledge of healthy habits, good nutrition, and physical fitness, increase the number of hours per day they participate in physical activities, and strengthen their ability to interact positively with others and engage in healthy relationships. If for Boys and Girls Club members ages 6 to 18, and they're focusing on mind, body, and soul. I did email this to you all as well. And so the letter that they have, a draft letter. It says, I write on behalf of, and it would say Benton Harbor Area Schools, in support of the Boys and Girls Club of Benton Harbor's proposal to the United Healthcare Empowering Health Grant to fund the triple play program to reduce health disparities among the young people in our community. We strongly support this grant application and the focus on driving healthy lifestyles for youth. Participation in the program will help ensure the kids of our community increase their physical activity, make smart food choices, and enhance their ability to get along with other youth and adults. As a community-based organization, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Benton Harbor is uniquely positioned to positively affect the lives of youth with programs and help them achieve. For these reasons, I hope you consider the Boys and Girls Club of Benton Harbor as a top contender for United Healthcare Empowering Health Grant. If you have any additional questions about their qualifications, please contact me. So it's essentially my letter to the entity in support of it, but I'm writing on behalf of Benton Harbor Area Schools, which is why I brought it before the board before doing so. So is there a motion to?
So, President Robbins.
Go ahead with your motion.
I would like, to make a motion to support the initiative as written.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Can I add?
Yes.
I think it's a great program. I do work very collaboratively with the Boys and Girls Club, and I would love to keep that great working relationship with the Board of Education and them as well.
Awesome. Secretary Triplett?
Yeah, I do have something to say. I personally, I too think that, you know, a lot of our kids benefit from participating in the Boys and Girls Club, and anything that's going to help our kids, I'm going to support that. However, I just find it offensive to that people think that they can just call like a church meeting and a church club and they need a signature. For us, in order for them to get this grant, and didn't think enough of the Board of Education to even come and present or say anything to us, you know. So I don't know what the situation is, but for me, this is for our kids. It has absolutely to do nothing with any adult or anybody. This right here is something that our kids will benefit from. It's the only reason that I would be able to say a yes to do it.
So just to provide clarification, so I received the email at work, and I believe it was a personal request to me, but I understand that the request is because of my connection to Benton Harbor Area Schools as a Board of Education. So because it has, I write on behalf of my organization, I brought it before my board before speaking on the behalf of my board. So it wasn't necessarily a formal proposal to Benton Harbor Area Schools. It was a request that I, as a community leader, supported, and then my organization is named as the organization that I lead. So it was no intent, in my opinion, for them to slight us. It's just an effort to get a letter of support, and they were under the impression that I would be able to just do the quick turnaround on their behalf.
I don't feel slighted because that's not something that can be done.
Okay, well, I just want you to know it wasn't necessarily them thinking that the board would just push something through. It was
No, I don't feel slighted at all. Okay, so yeah.
Can you call the roll, please?
President Robinson?
Yes.
Vice President Bradley?
Yes.
Secretary Triplett? Treasurer Creighton?
Yes.
Trustee Bowen?
I'm gonna abstain because I don't have any information and I have not reviewed that letter.
It's illegal.
I think it has to be if he's arguing that he's not knowledgeable on it, it automatically
I mean,
becomes.
from my understanding, the
no.
Boys and Girls Club is changing their name. We don't know how much this grant is. What is it written on? You're just writing a letter of support. I'm not saying I don't support the Boys and Girls Club, but I just willy-nilly cannot vote for this. So if I can't abstain, I vote no.
Okay.
Trustee Buchanan?
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin?
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes.
Thank you all. So I'll go ahead and get them that signature tomorrow. Vice President Bradley had new business.
Real quick, I'm not gonna prolong the time. I just want to let everyone know, I don't know who else went. We did Winter Institute this weekend with MASB. This is gonna be their last virtual Winter Institute. I had a number of classes. I will discuss what I learned at next board meeting. I do want to plug that the next event, the spring event, is going to be April 22nd through the 24th in Howell, Michigan. That's up there off of I-96 by the Outlet Mall. Don't ask me how I know all that, but it's going to be in person. So I encourage everyone to try to sign up, take some classes, meet some of the board members from around the state. Myself and Secretary Triplett can attest to that. It's a good time of fellowship. They're also going to be planning a summer, the Summer Institute is going to be on the calendar, but they're going to be having it up in the Muskegon area, and they're already looking at the site, and I will let people know. And I will keep y'all posted of any other MASB things. They also have something called Get On Board for people that are interested in running for office. So just kind of go on their website and get more information on that. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have open public comment. However, there is no one here, so we'll proceed. Superintendent announcements and comments.
Thank you so much, President Robinson. I want to send a big thank you to the Whirlpool Corporation for sending Benton Harbor area schools $25,000 in seed money to make our esports program a reality. Very big deal for our kids for post-secondary opportunity. Additionally, the marching band and color guard received $2,500 donation from local McDonald's restaurant. That recognition is for the young people's efforts on and off the field. Major thank you and shout out to Penn High School in Mishawaka, Indiana, for the very generous donation of a skid of water and $1,000 to our district to support us in the water crisis. Yep. Eagle has partnered with the Rural Community Assistance Program to get a grant that would instill bottled water filters in all of our schools. Shout out to Mr. Miller and Mr. Weber for leading this effort. The hope is that the work will be completed over the summer months in order to minimize disruption to our students. So every last one of our buildings will be installed with the exact same water filter, so we're aligned across the district. Major congratulations to Turkia Walls for being the first graduate of our Graduation Alliance program. Way to go, Takia. Graduation Alliance is working for, she's our first student. We expect to have more towards the end of the year. President Robinson, that concludes my announcements and highlights.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have board member announcements and comments. I'm going to ask graciously that we keep them to a 2-minute minimum.
I will be taking track of time.
Maximum.
Please do.
That's hilarious.
You should start down here.
And I would like to remind you guys, if you haven't noticed, Attorney Garner is probably about to fall asleep. So we need to get to.
And he got to drive back. So let's make sure we get him.
We got to get on through.
On the road today?
Okay.
Okay, so we are going to begin with Trustee Buchanan.
Okay, good afternoon, board. I love you all and not trying to be funny or mean. Thank you, Ms. Creighton, for my birthday gift. I had the remaining 6 board members for my gift. So, and the administration staff over there, you got this whole month. I usually have February, but it's just skip. So you got this month to get my gift to me. Thank you. And let's drive home safe. And let's go ahead and throw something because I got to get a ride home. Thank you.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Let's keep looking forward and going forward. I'm done.
Awesome. Trustee Bowens.
Listen to what they say, watch what they do. I said that on our first meeting, January 2021. I've had a chance to communicate and deal with some parents and some teachers, community involvement leaders. And we just got to see, does everybody know the vision we're going on? Because if you don't know the vision or don't know the road that you're paving, you get lost. It's like driving in Atlanta or Texas. It's all of those lanes and everything. I think we need to make sure we have a solidified vision. Make sure we're being tough and recruiting kids. That's very alarming to see those numbers that low. And are we really seeing this? I mean, yes, we have to portray the positive, but we have to be realistic about what's happening. And that's all I would say to keep it calm. So sorry.
Thank you, Trustee Bowens. Next, we have Treasurer Creighton.
Thank you. I want to be kind of deep like everyone else. So I'm going to read a quote that was sent to me. Leadership is not about you. It's about investing in the growth of others. And so saying that or reading that to just simply say that, you know, I've been on the board for a year and a few months, And I'm excited about the work that we're doing. I'm excited about our growth and our investment. And I just want the team to know that I'm willing. I have some new walking shoes and I'm ready to put them on. I'm ready to do some door-to-door recruitment and just do what I have to do to tie my shoes up and do the work that's necessary for Benton Harbor area schools.
Thank you. Next, we have Secretary Triplett.
Well, I'd like to say to this Board of Education, I honestly have all the confidence in the world in the work that we do as a body. I've seen the growth. I want to say to the citizens of Benton Harbor, to our taxpayers and those who are part of the Benton Harbor Area Schools family, we'll make it. Like I said, I have confidence in the members of this Board of Education. I too am very disturbed by the numbers that I heard tonight. I, as the assistant principal here at Benton Harbor High School, we had 1,800 students in our high school. We have, students are leaving and nothing has changed at the top. We almost have more people working than we do students, if those numbers are correct, and those numbers have not been finalized. So this board has a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And I think that was one of the things that got us in trouble before. Nobody was paying attention to these numbers. And that's how we started going further and further into debt. So I am, again, I just want the community to know that I can only speak for myself, that I am fighting for Benton Harbor. And I do believe that my colleagues, all of us sitting at this table, have the best interest for this community first and foremost. And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett. That was awesome.
I just want
I need to put that timer on. I
Yeah.
was watching you.
I just want to look further just because y'all said a 2 minute. No.
Vice President Bradley.
All right, I'm gonna be real brief. Thank you everyone for coming out. Thank the ones who are watching online. Let's remember the climate starts here at the board table as well, and we need to do soul searching on why this climate is the way it is. Let's stay encouraged and motivated. I've been reading a book called The Vision Driven Leader. I'll pick it up, put it down. I wish I had a self-driving truck so that way I could read and drive, but you know, hey. It's plenty of good folks in here, and I'm gonna check Alex to see if they still have a copy of this and see if I can look into buy probably everybody something of it. One quote is, "A vision is not a guarantee. Plenty of visions fail, but having no vision is a guarantee of failure. It's only a matter of time before stagnation or strategic failures rob you of your future." So let's, stay visionary and let's keep pushing. And that's all.
Take a picture of that and send it to me.
Thank you, Vice President Bradley.
Excuse me for interrupting. Thank you. Let's give a shout out to Andy Creighton. She's the director of Dialogue. Thank you.
Yes, congratulations. Right, she working on next year present.
Right.
My comment will be brief. I'll just say thank you to everyone who did attend this evening and those watching online. And thank you to our Board of Education and our chiefs for hanging in there with us, to our Attorney Gardner, who is driven down to speak with us. Grateful to have you present as well. And thank you, Dr. Townsend, for the work that you've done. I am going to keep it there so we can go ahead and expedite this process. So next on the agenda, we have entering a closed session under 0167.2 F to consider materials such as written opinions of counsel, which are exempt from discussion by state or federal statute. The only individuals that will go into the closed session room will be the Board of Education, and Mr. Gardner, Secretary Triplett will take our notes. Is there a motion to enter closed session?
So moved.
Support.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Vice President Bradley. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton.
Yes.
Trustee Bowen.
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan.
Yeah.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All righty, so we will return after our closed session for, is there a motion to end closed session and return to open session?
So moved.
Support.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Vice President Bradley that we return to open session. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Secretary Triplett, can you please call the roll for returning to open session?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan.
No. Yeah.
Motion carried.
We return to open session effectively at 10:22 p.m. The Board of Education for Benton Harbor Area Schools would like to provide an official press release. Benton Harbor Area Schools is committed to becoming the best in academics, athletics, and the arts. We, the Board of Education, are confident in our ability to move forward with engaging the community and our leadership team as we achieve the mission, vision, and goals of our district. The educational success of our students is our #1 priority. We ask that the community continue to fight with the Tiger Nation as we work to revitalize Benton Harbor Area Schools. Tiger Nation, second to none. Thank you. Secretary Triplett, will you do me the honor of leading us in the fight song?
Well, you know, your Tigers, we stand on our feet. Bump, 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 bump. There's an harbor on to victory, right through that line. For we are here to win this contest, fighting all the time. Oh, high, our shields are born, and like we see our banners proudly waving. Fight, fight until the land we are with you. BHA. No, 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 no. Rah, rah. 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 No, no, no. B-E. No, no, no. T-O-N. No, no, no. H-A-R. No, no, no. D-O-R. We sing of orange and black, the colors of our Colfax school. We sing of tigers that fight until our colors bright shall rule. We sing of hope ever high until we know that we have won. And then we still sing to you. Oh, Benton Harbor, carry on. BH!
I needed that.
I did too. Let's get it. Let's get it.
All right. Now, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton. Vice President Bradley, would you like to support?
Support.
Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Yes, I do have, no.
Secretary Triplett, can you please call the roll?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan,
Yeah.
motion carried.
Thank you.
The statement, can we get the statement back?
Man, you need help with these right here?
Meeting adjourned at 10:25 p.m.
Man,